20 years of Comic Timing, and Comic Timing is still member supported by listeners like you over at patreon.com/Comic Timing. We thank you very much for your continued support of the show. For as little as $1 a month, you get behind the scenes access. You'll get some extra video this very episode as well as some behind the scenes audio every now and then, diaries, whatever we can throw your way. Patreon.com/Comic Timing. Thank you very much for your continued support of the show. Let's do this! Hey there, folks. My name's Ian Levinstein, and welcome to a very, very special episode of Comic Timing, episode 288 of the show, and also our 20th anniversary special. And we are loaded this episode with as many people as I could fit onto a Zoom. We may get some other people later on today as well. Who the hell knows? The link was open to anybody to join, so I have no idea. But what I do know is that Blue Team and Gold Team unite on this very episode of Comic Timing. And I will begin with the Blue Team first, and I will start with the man who has been my co-host since 2006 in one way or another. Back then, he was the co-host, not co-host for a short while, until I gave up on that moniker because nobody else was coming. Hey, Brent.
That was a long while I had that moniker.
I know, because it was fun. But dude, holy crap.
My heart is beating. I've been so excited for this day for like the last week and a half.
It's a lot of fun.
Thank you all.
Oh, please, by all means. Also joining us from Blue Team, it'll be very difficult for me to distinguish between the two Krises on the call, but I will make sure to do that throughout. It's Kris Naudus.
Hello. It's really interesting because when you first started the show, I wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
He needs his space. To play with his friends.
And now you're a member, so welcome.
Well, I thought we were friends.
We are friends, goddammit. Other people who are friends on this call, it's Brent and Christopher.
20 years, and I still got my eye on you, Ian.
Yes, 20 years, and you finally didn't turn on that dark light so we can actually see you.
Wow. You know what? I have to give a room a certain darkness because it is too bright in my goddamn room. Okay, so this is what you get. Okay.
At the same time, though, it's nice. It's nice. We can see your features. We can see the P on your hat. Everything is as it should be.
So. You know, in an audio format, like half the listeners are, they are not going to understand that. Okay.
It's a Phillies.
It's a Pahili's hat. It's a Pahili's hat.
I'm sorry. What?
What with the who now?
The Philadelphia Pahili's. Exactly. That's how you pronounce it.
You and your Knicks. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Oh, yes, got us there.
New York Knicks.
Donovan Morgan Grant also joining us. Dono, what up?
You think I missed this party?
Yeah.
Yes. I started out as a listener back when Smallville was running and Laura Vandervoot was our Supergirl. And now, look at where we are.
3 Supergirls later.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So yeah, look, we've come a long way, man. We've come a long way. Transitioning over to Gold Team, we got Shane on this call. Shane,
hello. Good to be here.
Happy to have you, my friend. Happy to have you. We also have the muddler himself, Adam Murdo.
Mm-hmm. Coming to you live and fresh from this random pastel green corner of our house in Stone Harbor.
Wouldn't want it any other way, my friend. Wouldn't want it any other way. And last but not least, the one, the only, the man whose laugh can be heard all the way from his domicile without a microphone. It is Chris Eberle.
Levy Poo, I deeply moved by that introduction. Mm-hmm. Thank you, and thank you for giving sanctuary to this refugee podcaster.
Oh, absolutely, man. And look, that's kind of like we become our group in a very interesting way. And once upon a time, it was a lot more rotating. Like I'd have on guests as we had them and we needed them, and then we got big enough where I'm like, you know what, we can have guests on every now and then, but for the most part, we're us. that's what comic timing is. It's evolved and grown over the years to have many different people involved. And we also have a couple of people in the audience that I'm going to introduce one by one here as well, who have been a part of the show in various ways over the years. And I will start with one of my favorite human beings, the one, the only, Maxim Glory himself. He still has his eye patch somewhere. It's Rick Gordon.
Yes, I do. Fun fact, a lot of people don't know this, but Ian and I went to different Hebrew schools together, and his mother and my mother were both mothers.
Yes, it's very, very true. And we swapped wheat cake recipes back and forth as well. It was,
they're my favorites.
They absolutely are. They absolutely are. And my favorite part is Rick is like, oh yeah, no, just so you know, I couldn't be in the library today because it's in your your man cave because it was too hot. Instead, you've got all these comics behind you anyway. So look, man, you're okay. You're okay in our book.
Thank you.
Yep. His podcast buddy as well. I'm going to remove all of the spotlights here so that everybody can be seen, as I can't actually add any more spotlights. So you know what? For this point, I'm going to remove Rick for 2 seconds here so I can bring in Bob, and then I'll remove everybody else. But anyway, Bob
Mr.
Bretall.
Stark.
Oh no! Oh no!
Where did everyone go?
Bob Bretall has been a long-time participant in comic timing in multiple ways, a bunch of different episodes over the years, and we're always happy to have him involved in any way, and very happy to have him on this very call. So, Bob, welcome back.
Hi. It's been a long time since I've been on an episode. I'm happy anytime to give me a yell.
Oh, absolutely.
Any of this stuff. This is my wife's complaint is like, someone sees this background, they don't know you collect comics because it's all statues and art and stuff.
This is the first episode you've been on since San Diego Comic-Con 2018. So yeah, it's been a little bit, but either way, man, you are the record holder. I will reiterate that once again. Yes, it might be because it's very hard to get a Guinness Book of World Record at this point, but you know what? We don't care. You got it, and you keeping it. So that's that. Also joined on this episode by Julian Lytle. Some of my favorite arguments on this entire podcast have occurred between Julian and Brent.
Yes, sir.
Yes. We have to have him on. Oh, yeah. What's going on, buddy?
Sometimes it was like from one episode to another episode. I do remember some on the same episode, but oftentimes it was like, I was listening 3 episodes ago, and I gotta say.
Oh, my God. Welcome back, Julian. We love having you.
I'm glad to be here. 20 years. You're a golden age podcaster now.
We really are. Yeah. I mean, all the grays in the beard certainly tell that story, man.
Podcasting so like his 5th age from a different age from when people actually had iPods.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. What's an iPod?
Exactly.
Yeah. That you used to play records on those, right? Like that's
right. That is right.
Yeah.
And solitaire.
That's my favorite thing about the term podcast, by the way. And I was talking about this with Kris Nautis a couple days ago, actually. That the term podcast is for a piece of technology nobody even uses anymore, but the term still exists, and that's I love that. I love that so much.
I beg to not.
Oh,
it's just in my drawer.
Excuse me, sir.
Let me go get my Zune real quick. All right.
Okay. Yeah. No. Can I dig my Zen Vision M out of storage somewhere? If that even still works.
I don't even know what that is.
I'm too brand loyal. I still use Apple products. So
I know you do.
We moved to the iPod, to the iPhone. OG iPhone user.
You had Google Glass, man. I still remember when you had Google Glass.
So I got Meta glasses. I got Vision Pro. I be with the technology.
Oh my God.
Nice.
And for the sake of variety, a man who's always kind of been in the background as a listener and a friend of the show, but pretty sure you've never actually been on an episode before up until now, Shawn. Shawn Wheatley, Left Coast Love.
Thank you so much. I don't know, lurking in the background, I'm expecting like Chris Hansen to pop into the call here.
Oh my God.
I was going to say, what do I say? Because I've never been a guest, but it's really more, I'm here today to represent longevity in relationships that you've developed
Yeah.
through different mediums. And, like it's very hard today to have an internet relationship that doesn't involve sex or money. And Ian, you don't require either.
Thank you.
So,
but tipping's allowed.
Yes. And as a reminder, patreon.com/comic timing. That's a very good place to go if you want to throw a tip in one way or the other. But yes, no, that you're absolutely right. And pretty much everybody on this call in one way or another. Message boards is where it started,
Wow.
Like that's where the appreciation, that's where the friendship really started, in one way or another here. And it's kind of, it's an evolution of the internet itself in that fashion, because even though there really isn't that, there's still stuff like Discord, and there's still stuff like Blue Sky and Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, where you can keep in touch with people in one form or another. Nothing will really capture that magic of the days of the message boards, but there's still plenty of ways to keep in touch with people today and to make new friends. In one form or another. Discord's probably as close as we get to it these days, I think. When it comes to that.
We had more time when we were back then. Ian, I remember when you were just like a little puppy in a box on the message board, posting like every other hour, and we jump on to refresh. And Murd, you were there. If the boards went down, it was
chaos.
Hell on earth.
Right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
And then we got to meet and nobody got hurt. So we said, okay, we can do this on a regular basis. And, for at least this group here, I know, we're here to celebrate you today.
Oh, well, thank you. And I mean, I'm here to celebrate the podcast in general, for that, but also, even though he's not on this call, we'll get a voice message from Raph in a little bit, but, Raph was part of that first group of people and Kris Nautis was there that day as well, where we met in person at Deacon Brody's bar in the 40s in Manhattan. Just a whole bunch of people who had never met before in person getting to be able to meet in person, and it kind of just like sparked a friendship there. And now I've known Raph for 20 years, and I've heard the term "my parents are dead" at least 495,000 times in my life. So that's just part of it.
I will never forget the two of you walking down like 8th Avenue, Peter Parker style, after we left Spider-Man 3.
Mm-hmm.
You were doing the finger bang and the little dancing. Yep. Yeah. Murd is doing the little hand roll. Yeah, they did the whole thing. It's beautiful. It brings a tear to my eye.
Live your art. Live your art.
Yep. And this show is old enough where Spider-Man 3 had come out when the show existed. Like, that's kind of crazy when you think about that. Like I think I remember when we reviewed like 300 here on this show, and so many of those like progenitor movies were kind of like the starting point of conversation here. And also, there was an entire episode devoted to the delay of Civil War.
Breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news, man. Breaking news. Civil War didn't come out on time. No comic comes out on time.
Man.
But it's an event, though, Ian. It should be on the books already.
At the time, sure, that was the case. But this day and age, come on, Saga, perfect example. I love Saga. Chris Eberle, Saga, one of our favorite things in the world. Do we expect it to be finished by the time this show is 20 years later from now? Like,
frankly, Ian, I don't even remember what happened in the last issue of Saga.
There you go. It's been a while, but that's in some ways that's how the industry itself has changed. Is that long form storytelling has been given the opportunity to breathe and take breaks as needed and go that way. Kurt Busiek, putting out what he's putting out in his superhero universe and putting it out whenever he can is I think a perfect example of that. There was only a couple of episodes where we reviewed the first 6 episodes of Astro City, and that's still a thing that exists. Astro City is still a book that theoretically could come out at some point in time in the future because it's allowed to do so. But that's also something that you're able to do outside of the big 2 now, is kind of have a bit more of a breathing room to just have your creative juices flow whenever they need to flow. So,
or is it more because Marvel and DC are not the same companies? They're owned, like that IP is very, very different. It almost feels like, I agree with you. I like that big, like it felt like, back in the day, I'm going to win the AARP bingo because we're almost there.
Yeah.
But, they were willing as companies to take risks, to move the entire universe forward or backwards through multiple ways. And it feels like Marvel's now like, we got to protect the IP and then make it as synergistic as possible. What was that movie, right? The Synergies.
Oh, God.
and so while I like Jay and Silent Bob with the Marvel Universe, it's on the heels of Godzilla in the Marvel Universe and Predator in the Marvel Universe. So it's not like none of it's unique or cool. Soapbox away. Thank you.
No,
I think DC's doing all right though. They're doing
DC's doing damn fine right now.
DC is thriving right now.
Yeah, they are. They absolutely are, which makes me that much more nervous, though, with the coming, Paramount purchase and mergers and stuff like that. Like, are they even still going to be owned by the same people in a couple of years?
Yeah.
When the numbers come in and they're like, okay, sure, we have access to all these IPs for the movies and whatnot, but is it even worth continuing to sink money on returns that are getting smaller and smaller each year?
I think if you're selling hundreds of thousands of copies of new comics per month per title, that they look at that balance sheet by the cost and return on investment, and then they can use that to make a show, and that's going to make more money.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh yeah, maybe some of these licensees that have the Ninja Turtles not gonna have Ninja Turtles no more, and DC is gonna make Ninja Turtles, and DC is gonna make Star Trek, and DC is gonna make all these things we let people make when we can make it in house because they have infrastructure for it. I would worry more that if you're a Ninja Turtle fan of certain places, that they might not be making Ninja Turtles no more. If you enjoy that Star Trek comic book, they might not be making Star Trek no more.
Okay. Look. Raph is mid-flight right now. You are not allowed to say these things. And like right now, he just got turbulence on the flight. Julian.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like Batman, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just might be a regular thing. They just might be, instead of this is a special miniseries. Like, nah, they go through a special sewer, and there's just like, Batman's hanging out, and kicking Shredder in the chest. And then they go back, and it's just like it's no big thing.
I mean, there was
a new history of the DC universe. And like, one day some ooze went down the sewer, and it's like,
Batman was battling somebody, and the case cracked, and the ooze went down and made turtles.
You know what I'm saying? Cobra was involved, and then like I don't know, Scataurus is in there somehow, and then
here comes Daredevil.
It's like it's not Daredevil no more.
Yeah, Nth Metal, exactly. Yeah. That's hey, Shredder with Nth Metal would be badass. To be entirely honest with you, like that's something that I'd like to see happen in one way or the other.
I want a flying Shredder.
Why not?
Shoot, man. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty sure there was a toy of a flying Shredder.
I guarantee you.
John Paul Valley's dad. That's where he got the Azrael
suit. God,
Brilliant.
no.
Brilliant.
No.
It just writes itself, man. It just absolutely writes itself.
I'm just saying,
Rokosaki Valley.
There's space for everything in DC, and I think right now, like in the past, DC works best when a lady's running it, and that's when we get the good comic books.
Yeah,
that's when we got good leadership.
Yeah, I
mean, things just going well. So.
Yeah. This is one of the things about this show that's also kind of happened over the years, and I'm kind of gonna like ask most of the people on the call to answer this question in one way or the other, how your reading has changed in the past 20 years since we started the show. But we've seen the ebbs and flows. We've seen DC be further on top in the early 2000s, and then it being more Marvel after that for a bit, and now DC's kind of on the upswing again, while Marvel itself, creatively at least, is kind of worrying a little bit. And we're kind of back to that square one.
You were looking for, Ian.
You are right, Bob. You are absolutely right. But
what was the last big Marvel crossover? Was it Civil War II?
Oh God,
no
crossover.
Blood ties. No, that blood ties.
It was the blood hunt.
One World Under Doom, right?
One World Under Doom. Yeah,
But
and what Armageddon just started.
You can't remember because they've had so many of them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they butt up against each other.
We're challenging Doom now.
Oh yeah, there you go.
like Civil War, Secret Invasion, Siege, New all those felt like they kind of really locked in. These are the must-read events that's going to change Marvel. Yeah. Now it's like Blood Hunt. I was like, oh, this came out. Then when the trade's out already.
Well, I actually bought that event, because it was about Blade. So I was like,
it wasn't in the damn event.
And then the art looked good, and they had the little red band issue. You was like, oh, you buy the polybag red band issue, is gonna be more violent or whatever. I was like, let me see what y'all doing. And then I could have just read this on the app. I ain't getting that. And Armageddon, they trying to get you with Armageddon now. I was like, nah, you fooled me a couple years ago. I'm going ahead and read this on the app 3 months later.
Armageddon, you mean Empire 2?
Yes, Empire 2, Empire Boogaloo. Yes, exactly.
I see it differently. I just see this as oh yeah, we need a new Captain America villain when we reboot the MCU again, so we gotta make another Captain America for Captain America to fight. What to say? Synergy.
They did Secret Empire.
They did. Yeah, Zdarsky, I appreciate. Sometimes Zdarsky's too weird even for me, and I think with the whole post 9/11 Captain America stuff going on, I've read a little bit of it, and it's
War on Terror Cap.
It's not quite working for me yet. I'm hoping that the latest stuff with Doom and Cap captures me a little bit more. But we'll see. But anyway, let me go across the crowd here. Let me literally go across the Zoom. Starting with Shane. How has reading changed for you within the last 20 years?
Well, it's been much more opening to independent books, which before that wouldn't have been a thing. And also just how I read digitally. I mean, I still get physical books, but I read a lot digitally too, because it's easier, more convenient. I have both Marvel and DC apps, so I buy way less Marvel books just because it's like you say, they're on a downward spiral right now. So I'm just happy to read it on the app. I don't need a copy of it.
That's fair. Yeah. Rick, over to you.
I think somewhere around 2010, I just kind of lost the zeal that I used to have. So I retreated back. I've been wallowing in nostalgia for almost a decade now. Yeah. So I'm just reading legacy books. I read every day, but it's stuff that's laying around the house, like Millie the Model or whatever's around. Digest, Archie. Just I'm getting away from the superhero thing and going back to when I started and looking at other genres, more Westerns, more romance, more war. Because there's something about the modern style of storytelling just does not sit right with me. And I've never been able to pin down what it is.
Okay, that's fair.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense. I mean, one thing that I would say that has definitely become more prevalent within the last 20 years has been writing for the trade, which is, there's way fewer single issue arcs or even 2 or 3 issue arcs than there are, 6 issue arcs where you're able to, wrap it up neatly and then put it out in trade paperback and then later in the hardcover, or sometimes the reverse, hardcover first then trade, so that people will have a complete story in one way or the other. But
and some of those are even hard to read issue by issue. You really have to wait to get all 6 and read them at one time.
Yeah, I feel that way about Saga, to be entirely honest with you, especially with the lateness. I'd much rather buy a full collection of Saga than go issue by issue for that very reason, because I'm gonna, just like what happened with Chris Eberle was just talking about it earlier, that like, you know, sometimes you just completely forget what happened last issue because it's been 7 months since the last one came out. I'd rather just have a full collection to work with in that situation. Bob, what about you?
Okay, so I'm probably a little different. I read a lot less superhero stuff, but any of the superhero stuff that I've got like every issue of, I still buy every issue, right? Okay. So like, I have all the Marvel superheroes back to the beginning of the Marvel universe, right? I mean, so I have every issue of Hulk and Daredevil and X-Men and Captain America and Fantastic Four, all that. So I still buy those every month. What I don't buy every month is all the ancillary books, right? So I like X-Men, I buy Uncanny because that's the one with the legacy numbering that goes all the way back to 1, but I don't buy the other 15 X-Men books that they put out every month. I get Daredevil, I get Iron Man, you know, et cetera, et cetera. On the DC side, same thing. I have most of the main DC books all the way back. So I get Batman, I get Detective, I get Wonder Woman, you know, Green Lantern, Flash, but I don't get Green Lantern War Journal or, you know, Batgirl, Bat Dog, Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, you know, all these different things.
Yeah.
I will pick up interesting looking Elseworlds kinds of things. Like the Absolute books are basically Elseworlds, right? You call them what you want, but I like Absolute Batman. I like Absolute Wonder Woman. I tried Absolute Green Lantern and Absolute Flash, didn't do a whole lot for me, so I don't get those.
Sure.
So that's that. But, you know, I used to, back 20 years ago, I got like every Marvel and DC book, you know, which was a lot of books. So now I don't get all of them. I do get a lot of indie books. And unlike a lot of people also, it's like I've been getting a lot of indie books since 1980, you know, when there was Rocketeer and Grimjack and American Flag and all of that. I credit the, you know, Marvel in the 70s by putting out Killraven and Master of Kung Fu and Jungle Action and all these to kind of get me off of the traditional superheroes punching each other to liking these other kinds of stories. When Marvel stopped doing all that, I started buying all these indie books. So now, you know, I get like probably 110 new comics a month. And of those, like 40 of them are Marvel and DC books. And then the other ones are a variety of, you know, Image and Dark Horse and IDW and, you know, whatever smaller publishers. You know, I get a lot of Image books.
Sure.
But again, because I've kind of moved away from some of that stuff, like at Image, what they're being very successful with is the Energon universe, right? And I didn't grow up on, you know, so like for me, the stuff that everyone's digging on with Transformers and G.I. Joe, I get that stuff, but I get more of the creator-owned, you know, stuff for the reason of a lot of the superhero stuff blurs together. And I do the same thing that you guys are talking about is I'll let stuff stack up. You know, I probably got like 20 or 30 issues of Amazing Spider-Man sitting in the other room that I'll read kind of in a row at some point. Because otherwise it's kind of hard to keep track of them month to month. But I can more easily keep track of just like an interesting indie thing that's completely different from everything else, whereas the superhero stuff gets a little more squishy and it blurs together a little bit.
Makes sense.
Let me just interject something here real quick. It's Bob has been such a positive influence on my collecting but I don't think I've ever thanked him publicly. So I'm thanking you publicly.
There you go. That's good. Yeah.
When we got together a couple of weeks ago, the two of us just went out and we hit a bunch of comic shops. And I think that's something that everybody should do at some point. Just to go out there and see what's out there. And he had some really fantastic recommendations that I probably just wouldn't have seen or known about. So we're all friends here. We've all known each other for decades.
Yes.
If somebody's in town, if somebody comes up to Albany, upstate New York, get a hold of me. We'll have a blast. I'll take you around and all the shops. We'll do dinner, that type of thing. I mean, this show is about friendship at its core level, and that's one of the best parts is just the fellowship of collectors.
Oh, you said the word. Oh my God! Wow. Anybody with the comic timing bingo card? It wasn't Kris Eberle that said the word fellowship. Wow, that's amazing.
It was early too.
Bonus points. Bonus points.
I was gonna go in order, but my first curse of the Zoom. Fuck that. We have been joined by the one, the only Barack O'Comics himself. Please rise. Shawn Pryor, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh no! What?
Yo, what's good, everybody? How y'all doing?
We are doing just fine, brother. I'm glad you were able to join.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I had a few minutes. I had a few minutes to swing in and say what's up and everything, and whatnot. I have not been called Barack O'Comics in a very long time. So when I hear that, it takes me back to my CGS days, where I even had a Barack O'Comics T-shirt. Anywho, I just wanted to say congratulations on 20 years of comic timing. It's wonderful to see you all here. Yep. I will try my best not to give a presidential speech today.
Go ahead. Do it.
The love of comics keeps, the love of comics in the medium as a whole keeps us all united and close together.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm seeing faces I ain't seen in a long time. I see Shane and I see Brandon and I see, Brent. And he's not salty. And I see Kris. I see Adam. I see my homie Julian. I see Shawn. I see Kris. Everybody. I see everybody. Donovan. I see you too. I ain't forget you, and I ain't forget you, Bob. So, and you, Rick. I ain't forgot you either. Okay, I think I got everybody. All right, cool. So, but no, even though my journey in the comics world is taking a completely different turn.
Yeah.
I'm still, like I said, rooting for those who are still trying to get to where they want to be. And I appreciate, y'all continuing to, be the bullhorn to let people know. And that is sincerely appreciated because you brought me on in October 2024 to talk about Kaiju Unleashed. And my mental state that day was the worst because that was in the middle of moving day.
Jeez.
Yes, and I was trying to put the master bedroom bed together, and I forgot how to put it together, and I was just like, you know what? Let me do this interview. And so yeah. But no.
If I can get your brain off of moving for at least a solid 2 hours, and you can relax and talk about some kaiju shit, then mission accomplished, brother.
Hey, man, and I appreciate that because after I got done, I remembered how to put the bed back together.
There you go.
Not only did it make me happy, it made my wife happy. Happy wife, happy life. Remember that. Remember that.
You have been a part of comic timing in one way or the other since 2008. I want to point that out, man. Yeah. That's the first time you were on an episode where we were all crammed into a hotel room, passing the mic back and forth, and probably passing a couple of beers back and forth as well.
Two for $5.
Two for five. Brian said the 2 for $5 2 for $5.
That's it. That's what it takes, man. And you talk about your comic book journey changing. We've all gone through that in one way or the other, but it's been great watching it change and evolve in one way or another over the years, man. And we've been happy to be there, a part of it. So definitely, man, you are one of my favorite people in this industry, and we all appreciate that you were able to pop on even just for a little bit here, man.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate y'all. Like I said, I didn't want to hog up all the time because my black ass will continue to talk. So, so like I'm just gonna try to curb it a bit. But no, like I just wanted to say how much I appreciate each and every single one of you. Even like if I don't talk to you, if I haven't talked to you in years, I still see y'all out there doing your thing in one way, shape, or form, or the other, and you are appreciated. And and I just want to spread that love.
Thank you.
Let me get off of here because I got to go take the dogs out to pee poo and then be a family man and whatnot. But I hope y'all continue to have a wonderful celebration. I love y'all and do take care.
Thank you.
It's
Cheers.
good to see you, Shawn.
All right.
Absolutely.
Hey, Ian, just pertaining on what Rick said.
Yep.
Anybody comes out to California and wants to visit the comic room,
Yeah,
visit
Mecca.
a couple of comic shops, go out to dinner or something, get a hold of me. I always love the opportunity to hang around and talk about comics and with someone who's a fellow fan.
Oh, please.
Highly recommended. If you have the opportunity, do it.
Well, I will if I'm up your way, I'm most definitely going to be taking you up on that offer, man, because I mean we've been talking about trying to get it to Cali at some point in the next year or so. So I'll definitely keep that in mind.
Don't forget the Bay Area.
Oh, that's true.
I know Bob's got SoCal tied up and all, but California is a big state, my friend.
That is very true. That is very true. Yeah.
I'll be going to Oxnard on Monday.
I could drive up to Shawn's in only 8 hours with no traffic.
Actually, yeah, crap. Yeah, you're right, Brandon. In fact, I was just going to bring it over to you for your thoughts on how it's changed in the last 20 years, but also the fact that you're going to be in San Diego as our correspondent in a couple weeks, because we're definitely going to be talking about shit with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I first San Diego, so wish me luck, and I hope I don't die over there.
Actually, hold on. Just because you happen to mention it, so I'm wearing my New York Comic Con 2006 shirt today.
Oh wow!
I managed to grab that as something that actually happened in 2006 with the Iron Spidey only a couple of months before this podcast started. But I also managed to find one of my San Diego shirts from one of the two that I was at. Old school Hal Jordan. Like right when he was first coming back, like Rebirth style. That's
Evan Reese, yeah.
Oh yeah, yep. Ivan Hayes. I believe that's exactly how you say it, but everybody says Reese, so it's all good. And
it will be my 36th San Diego in a couple of weeks. So if you need any tips, Brandon.
Oh yes, I will hit you up for sure.
And also,
I'm having FOMO. I'm going to miss it this year. It looks like.
I wasn't at this one, but this Kris got me this shirt from Kris Nautis got me this shirt from a San Diego she was at.
No, that wasn't San Diego. That was E3.
It was San Diego. Oh, it was E3. Shit. Okay.
Yeah, that's the game. That's the game, right?
Yeah. From the Ultimate Spider-Man
no
game. Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Look, man, I took an empty suitcase to LA because I knew the swag game was going to be deep.
Yep. Yeah. That's the way it goes. But yeah, Brandon, talk a little bit about how it's changed in the last 20.
Oh God, in the last 20 years, I have had a journey of a collecting. I've gone from almost stopping to getting out of the hobby to working in a comic book store for almost 5 years and managing that place. And from there it upticked exponentially. And buying books, I in the span of 5 years, I've tripled my collection. And I've fallen out now because I don't have as much time to read because I've left that store. But I mean, it's amazing to see the variance that I read now.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back at 20-something-year-old Brandon, I was, drinking the Marvel DC Kool-Aid there. It was the only two I read. Or I was reading select books out of those two anyway. It was just probably Amazing or X-Men, and I think 06 would have been the crochet era of X-Men, I want to say.
Something like that, yeah.
Not the best era, but it
was a little later.
A little later?
Yeah. Necrosha, I think, was around 09 because sorry, House of M was, I think, 2004 to 2005, and then
Yeah.
Civil War
So
kicked in around 2006.
Decimation.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
it would have been Decimation era of X-Men. So yeah, I mean that was like that's probably what I was reading mostly, and DC would have been I would have been high on the pre-Infinite Crisis stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, '06 was Infinite Crisis, and that was when I got to uh meet the writer and the artist for Infinite Crisis, and at Wizard World, and that was
Nice.
again just like the fandom in me has lessened, but the love of comics is still there.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
No, that absolutely makes sense. Yeah, I mean, and I think that with the amount of comic book media that we have to ingest at this point, X-Men '97 just came out the day that we're recording this.
Hell yeah!
And X-Men '97 is crack. Like it is.
Absolutely.
It is everything for a guy who was growing up in the 90s reading comics and beyond, because they've got stuff from the 2000s mixed in there as well, and characters from the 2000s coming in there. So yeah, it's a hodgepodge of greatness, and not to mention some excellent other animated cartoons out there right now. Invincible is a perfect example of that. We're getting a Powers animated series in the not too distant future, so that's going to be something interesting.
I still have my 2006 Powers badge that Amazon sent me. That was one of the shows.
Oh my god!
As a ambassador for the show, way back when they sent me a Powers badge and a Powers shirt.
Wow!
To be an ambassador.
Okay, and not to take away from Brent's stats, I just want to point out January 14th, 2007, Brandon, episode 30. That's your first appearance on Comic Timing.
Wow.
And the best part is no one will ever get to hear that episode because we recorded it twice.
Oh yeah, I remember. That is lost to the annals of time.
To the annals of time. Lost to the hot recorder days.
My God.
Before we had, like, I wish I could have found my iRiver, because that was the first physical media I used to record the show. And that just was life-changing once I started doing that. But yeah, that was a bad day.
Yeah, it was like, guys, it is 12:30. I need to go to bed now.
Yeah. So we came back a couple days later. We reconvened and we re-recorded that episode. So yeah, I've been waiting to ask Murd the words how your reading has changed in the last 20 years, because your reading is 20 years ago. So that's going to make this answer even greater coming from you, Murd. But please, by all means.
It's just gotten slower and slower. As Ian's intimated, those who don't know, reading delinquency is kind of my calling card. My magic number right now is actually 18, as in 18 years behind. I'm just now reading books that I bought in June of 2008. So much of the past 20 years is still ahead of me. But throughout the past couple of decades, I have at least still been buying comics. And I will agree with Shane and Brandon that during that time I have kind of expanded the range of non-Marvel and DC titles that I buy by quite a bit. A lot more indie stuff mixed in there. My interests, my tastes haven't changed that much. I'm still basically in it for the superheroes, so that's still the backbone of what I've been buying and collecting, and that's still what I enjoy the most. As of right now, I will also agree that DC is doing a better job of holding my interest than Marvel is. Recently, I've been buying a couple dozen DC titles a month compared to Marvel, where it's only about 3 or 4. I can also add in, kind of on a slightly related note, that I've been waiting for the trade a bit more often than I used to, for purely economic reasons. I still prefer single issues, but just when each issue of a miniseries is $4.99 and there's like 10 or 12 of those issues, it just makes sense to especially when you're as far behind in your reading as I am.
Sure.
It doesn't matter if you wait a few extra months just to get a less expensive, paperback collection.
Yeah.
Just read that. So that explains that. And also I still have not, I don't read anything digitally.
Yep.
Just put that paper pulp in my hand, or don't bother me with it. So that's certainly one thing about the past 20 years of reading that has not changed in the slightest. I still am a paper and staples man through and through.
Paper and staples, gotta love it.
I am in the physical media reading club with Murd. I don't read any digital.
Yeah, and I've got almost the complete opposite, to be entirely honest with you, because to reiterate, New York City apartment, there was a time where I would get, I'd say, 40 to 50 comics in a month from DCBS, and then maybe 20 of them would get read and 30 of them would winding up in a pile or in a short box waiting to be filed, and then it gotten to eventually. Now I'm almost entirely digital. DC Infinite, Marvel Unlimited, library apps are very helpful for all the independent stuffs, and I do still buy trades from time to time, but the very first single issue that I bought in recent time was the Marvel half of the Spider-Man Superman crossover, and that was entirely for the show. So that's basically that's the last time I went into a store to buy a single issue of a comic. I still go to stores and I still enjoy doing so. It's just I'm very rarely going to be buying single issues. So yeah, I'm glad that there are physical people on this call that are keeping the pulp alive, baby. That's absolutely part of the reading process. And Mr. Eberle, I go to you. As within the last 20 years, your comic book experience has also very much changed for various reasons, from being a retailer to being a reader entirely. So I'm sure you have some interesting words to say on the subject.
Thanks, honey. You're correct. So 20 years ago, I owned and operated a brick and mortar store. So I was reading as much as I could, the two companies, and then a lot of indies. A, because I loved it, and B, I wanted to be able to talk to my customers and give them recommendations. So I was deeply immersed in as many titles and characters as I possibly could. That's changed dramatically, as you alluded to.
Yeah.
Since then, since leaving the retail business and also leaving CGS, there's just not as much reason to spend the money, because like Murd and Bob, I'm purely paper and staples.
Sure.
I'll go online and read stuff for research purposes, but I just don't really enjoy the format. So for me now, in recent years, as an example, my CGS order is maybe 6 titles a month.
Mm-hmm.
It's Conan, which is tremendous. G.I. Joe, Star Trek. If Garth Ennis writes something, if Brubaker and Phillips write something, that's really about it. Part of that is a lot of it is me, because I've totally lost interest in the continuity of the two major companies, and I'm well versed in the history, especially of Marvel.
Yeah.
I just don't care anymore. To me, it's become so cynical, because you guys were talking before about the IP, and there's just no stakes in any of it. Who cares? That's my attitude. I don't care what happens with any of these characters anymore, even though I love them, because they're just going to keep recycling them and doing. No one dies. There's no gravitas to any of it. It's like even though I love Doctor Doom, I didn't even read that miniseries. I just had no interest in it, because is somebody going to die? No. It just doesn't matter. So for me now, it's really following certain writers who have control over their characters and the content, and they can actually write dramatic stories that have actual impact to me as a reader. So I mentioned a couple just before, and I still love the medium as much as ever, but I'm very, very fine-tuned now in how I approach it. Like you, Ian, I love to go to the stores, and I still do, and I'll buy occasional things, like if I see a trade I want, and I think Rick was talking about legacy reading. I do that all the time, too. I always love going back and reading certain stories or arcs from certain periods that have meaning to me. But, at this point, I'm glad I'm not a retailer anymore. Let's put it that way.
No, fair enough. Yeah.
So that's how I approach it now.
Dono, as someone who works in the book business in one way or another, I'd love to get your take on how it's changed.
Well, it's an interesting evolution, because I started listening to podcasts, and exclusively comic book podcasts, when I was entering college, including primarily comic timing. And I would say during that period, my reading really exploded. I'm a lifelong comic book fan, DC, Marvel primarily, but it was through kind of being exposed to other fans, and genuine, real fans who knew the lingo, who knew the language, who knew the continuity, and just kind of having that energy to kind of try other stuff. Because you guys were talking about Image Comics, you guys were talking about just in the same level of interest as Marvel and DC. So I remember, not based on anybody's particular recommendation, but it was around the time that like you had Chew and Irredeemable and Saga, I'm pretty sure. And I remember trying those books out and sticking with Chew for the entirety of that entirety of that series. And I would say, because I started out in college as an art major, I ended up as a with an English degree. That my taste and my buying habits kind of expanded in ways where like I became, especially I started going to conventions. I started going to San Diego Comic-Con in 2011. I became way more invested in like the creators and the history. I think I was always into the history. I would read like the Les Daniels DC books and stuff like that. I got into like the Tomorrows Modern Masters series that they used to do.
Excellent.
And so I would go to like the Tomorrow's booths in the last several years and just kind of be really invested in those people's voices and those people's like perspectives of how these things were, the legendary conflicts of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko, all that kind of stuff. I think just before Mark Tyler Nobleman came out, there was like, I was learning about the Bob Kane stuff through the Batcave Companion, and all kind of things, those kinds of things. And so as my collection kind of capped off with my interest, because like just before then, I was like, I was collecting all of the original Chuck Dixon Robin, all the Chuck Dixon, Devin Grayson Nightwing.
Yeah.
Like all, Spec Spidey, ASM, all the kind of stuff. So I had like the basic stuff by the time I was 18, like hundreds and hundreds of issues. But like, as I kind of came of age, my interest, I would say, matured a bit more. And similarly now, is tough. I mean, for those who don't know, I do freelance for DC's website. And so I have access to the DC Universe Infinite app. And so I can kind of read a lot of fun storylines. I read a lot about it for promotion. And so I am invested in it more. And honestly, I am. I think right now it's on a bit of a hot streak. And I've argued that like DC has been on an emotional upswing, a lot more responsive to the yearnings of his fans and in a positive way. I would say since 2021, 2022 minimum. At the same time, the way that the industry has kind of evolved, the sort of soap opera storytelling that really defined comic book storytelling in the 90s and 2000s just isn't there anymore. I think the effort is still put in there. I feel like the current Fraction Batman run is kind of going that way, but it still does read like a different kind, like a sort of question mark time skip from issue to issue rather than like the ongoing narrative. So that's it is what it is, but it does kind of take away your investment. Similarly, I mean, I don't think I ever really recovered when Marvel did to Spider-Man. I know that like people. Well, I mean, I remember at the time.
You were 10.
I was like 19.
Which thing that Marvel did to Spider-Man? Or
Death of Gwen Stacy.
A bunch of stuff.
I think we're talking about erasure of marriage here. Yeah.
Yes. Mary Jane.
Brand new
Mephisto.
Day. Okay.
Yes.
I came into Spider-Man during the Clone Saga, so I have a very like a wide-eyed view of that. The 90s,
the second one, right? The second one.
Oh, okay.
But I find it. I just even now, because there was a lot of energy with ASM and Brand New Day and then Slosh Run, so there was they were really putting a lot of effort in. But I still to this day find the whole thing to be like, and I still read it. I still read ASM now out of bloody mindedness. But it was I think it's one of the most cynical things I've witnessed in my lifetime. And so like it's very, very hard to read the runs I do enjoy, like JMS, Paul Jenkins, the late great Jerry Conway, J.M. DeMatteis, Stan Lee, and then read it now and act like this is continuing. And so my investment is kind of like a pick and choosy kind of thing, but I kind of tend to look towards the past, and it is what it is. And I've also looked at other stuff. I mentioned checking out all of Invincible last year. I found and read all of the recently translated Cyber 6 comics.
Ooh.
I enjoyed that.
Yes.
manga, of course. I recently reread all the Ghost in the Shell manga series in time for the anime, and so my interests have expanded, and it's also not beholden to the monthlies. Just one last thing I want to mention before we go to the next person. I noticed, Rick, right behind you, you have the same Art of Robotech as I do on the shelf.
Yes, I do.
I thought that was the coolest thing because that's to this day my favorite anime series.
Love it. Kismet. You gotta love shit like that.
Ian, could I jump in for just 1 minute? Because I think Donovan made a great point I wanted to capitalize on, which is that if you're souring on, trying to stay with the monthly continuity, I think one thing that both companies, speaking of the big two, that are doing really well is that they've done some great miniseries over recent years that are kind of in their own world, that go to the essence of the great characters. I think of Superman, Space Age, Batman, Dark Age, Spider-Man, Lifetime. Yeah. Those are all fantastic stories, and you don't even have to pay attention to what's going on in the monthly books if that's not your game anymore, and you can really get to the essence of those characters when they're handled so well in miniseries like that.
That's a terrific point. Yeah, and most of those miniseries are almost immediately then in trade in full, and some of which are just straight up graphic novels to start. So that it's just a great way to just read your favorite character and not have to worry so much about the continuity of it all in the end of it. So excellent point there, Kris. Brent, obviously you're going to say that you love manga and Doctor Who now more than you did 20 years ago. Like that's 100% where you're going with that. So please regale us on your wonders of the Eighth Doctor in particular.
No. I think I would be open to reading more manga. Can't say I've read a ton.
Yeah.
But I think as I've gotten older, I was like, all right, I think it's just that one you picked for that one review for. It's just like, no, not this one.
What was it?
Man. Let me look it up actually because
it was like a random volume or something of some new series.
Wasn't it Akihabara Deep?
I think it might have been a Keep It Deep. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That was
I don't even know. I bought it. I don't know where it went. It's not here. It's not in the collection. It disappeared. Maybe it ended up in the trash in the college dorm. I don't know.
Maybe.
Over 20 years, my reading has expanded because I kind of started I was reading trades before Hush, and then for whatever reason, reading Wizard, they were like, Hush, it's Jim Lee. And I was like, who the heck is Jim Lee? So that's kind of when I started reading, more often, frequently. And then when I got to college and high school, I started buying Wheatley and then kind of shrunk back down. I sold my collection when I bought my first house because I was like, I'm not carrying these books in this house. And then now I'm in my next home, and I bought way more books. They're just trade paperbacks and hardcovers. They're not single issues. So I don't miss the single issues part, but I'm definitely trying to keep up with apps and digital and things like that. But I'm finding it much harder to keep up that way. And I was kind of thinking about the other day, like maybe I should just give up and just wait for me to get a book or whatever. Because since I'm pursuing this review central of BK's Bullets and always posting a review once a week of something and then having a physical book to talk about.
I mean, yeah, it certainly does help a little bit to have a full collection in your hand when that's the case. But I mean, the digital apps do allow you to go issue by issue on some things. So there is definitely that. By the way, randomly before I get to Chris Naudis, I just wanted to bring up, thanks to the Wayback Machine. This is what the site looked like in 2006. It's the most recent image that isn't just white text on a background because they didn't get the full render of it. But this is what the website essentially looked like as of November 29th, 2006, when they got their rendering of it. So the old logo, which I think you may have created, Brent, if I remember correctly, or something along those lines. But and just an absolutely horrible WordPress template. Not that I have a better one now in a lot of ways, but this one's very rudimentary to say the least, and an old school Google search bar there for that matter. So yeah, check out.
Discuss whether or not Kryptonite can talk.
Yes. Yeah, awesome. That would be the confidential crossover with Raging Bullets, Superman Confidential and Batman Confidential, back when those books were coming out in 2006. So yeah. dated. I barely even remember those books exist. Let's head over to Kris Dautis. How has your reading changed in the last 20 years?
Oh, what are you calling on me now?
Yes, Kris.
I've been awake. Oh man, so where do we start with that one? I've been thinking about this for the past like half hour. It's an interesting question because a lot of you have talked about the content of comics and how it influenced your habits over the years, and like, oh, they did too many crossovers or writing for the trade or this or that. And I would say, like, I think I'm kind of infamous among at least the blue team, where it's like I don't read new stuff anymore. And that's the biggest change for me, is that when Ian met me, like since high school, I was one of the people who would go to the comic shop every week and I would buy single issues. I think at my peak, it was nothing near what Bob probably spends, but it was like $20, which was a lot for like somebody in college or just out of college. My mom used to give me crap over that. And she's like, you spend so much on comics. And I'm like, it's only $20 a month. And $20 a week. And she's like, that's $80 a month. And I'm like, that sounds so much worse when you put it like that. Yeah. The big change for me, honestly, was around 2010, I stopped having a full-time office job. I was unemployed for a little while, and then when I got work, it was fully remote. And then when I finally got a different job, it was hybrid, and Gadget was basically a hybrid thing. I mean, I didn't have to go to an office, but I still went once in a while. But the thing is, that is a big change, because between junior high school, college, and then having a full-time job when I worked at Pokemon, I was always in Manhattan. I'm always in the city. If it's Wednesday, I walk or I take a short subway ride and I go to my comic shop, which was usually either Jim Hanley's Universe or Midtown Comics. And I'd pick up my comics and I'd read them on the train ride home. And I think that's also a big part, which I'm going to elaborate on, is that, so like, yeah, around 2010, I stopped, going. Sorry, I'm laughing at Rick having this discussion with his dog right now.
Love it.
Ollie, just,
yeah.
It's okay.
It's delightful. It's delightful, though. Your dog is way more polite.
He loves indie books.
Clearly.
Yeah. But yeah, like no longer being in the city, like I didn't have that opportunity. Like I would have had to make an hour-long trip out of the way after work or whatever to do that. So that's when I would shifted to ordering by mail with first, remember, early sponsor, Heroes Corner.
Yeah.
And then when they
that site doesn't exist anymore and has not existed for at least 15 years.
Yeah, well, when that happened, we switched to DCPS, or what's the in-stock trades also.
Yeah, in-stock trades, yep.
Yeah, well, no, it's like I remember. It's like DCBS is the monthly side, and in-stock trades is like the trade side.
Correct.
So I started ordering stuff from there. But the thing is, like, I think not being in a comic shop every Wednesday on the dot kind of removed me from the culture in a lot of ways. Like, we talk a lot about with like digital and just ordering stuff by mail removes serendipity. So I wasn't getting as much variety. I wasn't being exposed to new series the way I was, because like you guys all talk about, oh, well, I got more into indie. I was always in the indie. Like I can, everything, I read indie, I read manga, all that stuff I was reading since the beginning, since I started reading comics as a preteen. I'm just like a weirdo that way. But yeah, like not having to order stuff. And eventually, like I said, the orders started getting smaller and smaller because I wasn't being exposed to new stuff. And it was piling up. Like I no longer felt the urgency to read any of it. So I just kind of gave up on ordering it. I'm like, look, I have like 2 years worth of X-Men here that I haven't read. Why am I still spending, the $3 to $4 on each of these issues? So I just kind of stopped. And I've never really gone back. Once in a while, I'll go to a comic shop and I might buy something to support them. I think Unwritten was like the one comic I would buy every month. I think Ian was there that time. Were you not? I walked into like Jim Hanley's and they didn't have it, and I literally, but that's my like charity comic that I buy to support my local shop. And I think Dan Slott was there and he just cracked up so hard. He was, he was like, why? But like that's the biggest change, is I just fell off the monthly thing. I love physical, but between having to go get it or then like order it, have it being shipped to my house, and then having this pile of stuff, Like it just kind of fell out of fashion. All my comics are currently in a walk-in closet in my apartment. Like I have a walk-in closet that I can't walk in because it's just filled with like 2,000 comics, 3,000 comics. I don't know how many anymore. I've been trying to get rid of them, just not because I hate them, but it's like I can only move so many boxes every time I switch apartments. Let's hope I stay in this apartment. Thank you, Mom Donnie, for the rent freeze. You know. Yeah. Yeah. But that's like for me the biggest change is like I now just mostly stick to I get books from the library, which is why you hear me going, oh, I'm reading Powers finally.
Yeah.
You know, I just read Supergirl, yay me. You know, and like as for we've been talking about digital, that has waxed and waned even from 20 years ago. Where when Ian met me, we were both webcomics nerds.
Yes.
Because like starting in college, I was like, oh my God, I could read comics online. Oh, what an interesting idea. And I got really deep into that. And then I just kind of dropped off for really no particular reason. But like digital has always been second nature to me as a result. So using an app doesn't make a big deal to me. That's just one of the ways you get comics as far as I'm concerned. I was a member back in the late 2000s. I was obsessed with Scans Daily.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like this is the old home week. This is our anniversary episode. We talk about all the different things. Scans Daily, which used to post like panels and pages from different comics, and you know, like yeah, there was a whole drama why it got shut down, but it was great because it would give you like the highlights of different issues. I wouldn't say it took like it was piracy, but it wasn't the type that could really replace reading the whole comic.
Oh yeah,
it just it'd just be like, oh, this is a cool page. Let me see the
People
whole
would
issue.
pretend to be experts based off of Scans Daily. I remember that very well.
Oh yeah, well, and also now, like essentially, our comics, the Reddit has essentially replaced Scans Daily in some ways because that's where they post, clips from comics today.
I think like I would say thank you, Ian, for the tip on our comics. I don't see as many like printed, published mainstream comics on there as I do see a lot of web comics.
Fair.
And it's been great because it gets me back in touch with that part of like my comics reading experience. Seeing people publish stuff. Some of the comics are not very good. The art is terrible, but seeing people put themselves out there is beautiful. So yeah, that's where I am now. It is completely different and not really because of the content, though I would agree with pretty much everything you guys said that like the content has changed in a way that is not necessarily beneficial.
Yeah.
Like talking about like writing to the trade. I'm like, well, I'm only getting the trades anyway. So, but it means I'm less likely to just pop into a shop and just grab something. There's no draw for it. It's just another thing to have in my apartment, So I'm sorry if that was a little longer than everybody else's answers.
Please, by all means. Julian, I want to bring it over to you a little bit. I mean, I know we've all gone through our changes. I mean, for one thing, Kris mentioned, digital comics, and that's one of the first things that I, when I met you, that's what you were doing with the ants stuff and all that jazz. But how has your reading and your comic book life changed within the last 20 years?
Making a web comic, trying to, write comics or break into comics or, how successful or not successful that may be. I read a lot more 20 years ago. Being tapped into the early days of podcasting helped me stay up on a lot of things.
Yeah.
I don't read as much now. I'm behind because I ended up becoming a movie critic and a TV critic. And if I'm sitting down in the house outside of my day job that pays me money, I'm usually watching something. So I don't have a lot less time to read. I'll be honest, I used to download comics, even the comics I bought. Because sometimes once I got the iPhone, and I had it early on, and once they opened the App Store, one of the first things I got was an app that lets you read CBR files and all those the comic files, and I was reading comics on my phone, and that's how I got into One Piece. I decided to catch up on One Piece, and I read up to that point back then. And when I got into it around like 2009, 2010, I just read everything from 97 up until that point.
Yeah.
So now it's interesting to me, I would bring that up to people like, stuff in our community back then. And they look at me like I'm crazy. Like, you're reading a comic on this small dude on the small screen? I was like, yep. Yeah. I can read thousands of pages on this every day on the bus and the train. It don't matter. Like, I'm reading the comic book. And it's interesting for me to see how much the world's changed. It's like the creation of the webtoon vertical scrolling format.
Yeah.
How that is the actually the predominant way in which, especially the young people, the actual young people, the kids and the 20-somethings read comics for the most part.
I believe they're called Utes, by the way. The Utes.
There's young adults. There's the quote unquote demographic young adult, which is basically teenagers, and then there's kids. There's a lot of different things outside of superheroes. I like Lore Olympus. I read a lot of comics in that format, even though I pay for these apps. I essentially I read Ultimate Spider-Man when it was coming out before it was canceled for no reason. I read it in the Infinity format. I thought I preferred it. Like I've never actually read that comic as a regular comic. I read Absolute Batman as a Go comic. I prefer it. I can read it on the phone on the train. I think that is healthy for the medium to survive as something that's supposed to be quote unquote disposable or something that's easy and accessible to read. It's on these platforms that DC puts up free versions of the stuff on their app, and I know Marvel, they have their ones they make specifically for it, and they have their formatted ones and they use in Webtoon. I think that's smart. I think sometimes in regards to comics, I've been ahead a little bit too much in the certain things that I want and certain things I enjoy to the point, and now I don't know if I'm resentful, but it's like I'm just waiting for everybody to catch up. So like a lot of Western superhero comics, I'm uninterested in because I think they fall too much into nostalgia and nostalgia for nostalgia's sake at the cost of everyone else's nostalgia. Like I think that started with, as Donovan was talking about, with Brand New Day.
Yeah. Like
Joe Quesada took away the marriage because when he was a kid, Spider-Man wasn't married. Well, he was like, screw you if you grew up with that. Like, so what? It's like, hey, I don't need to read Spider-Man no more. And you get to a point where it's like, well, the video game tell a better Spider-Man story than what y'all can do. What I need Marvel Comics for. Get more into Japanese stuff, seeing different interpretations and ideas of the superhero, even in regards to independent comics, as I'm in some of that small press scene sometimes. Seeing some of that, but even some of that is getting to certain tropes or ideas on what they want acceptable, the graphic novel format, the middle grade, the YA book, kind of feel like they're telling the same stories.
Yeah.
They're disregarding certain demographics. I remember, maybe 15, 20 years ago, we need to get more kids in the comics. We need to get more kids in the comics. Well, guess what? We got the kids in the comics.
Yeah.
You gave up on the idea of getting a 24 or 25-year-old actually in the comics. You leave that up to the webtoon. You leave that up to the manga. And then you also want to try to copy manga, and they're going through their own issues.
Oh my God, yes.
I read about the business going on in Japan. Like, they ain't got no kids, bro.
Yeah, they talked about that last time, right?
Yeah.
Like, they ain't got no kids, bro. Like, they ain't got no new manga. So now it has become a global thing.
Yeah.
And that changed what manga is. It changed what anime is if it's not something created explicitly by Japanese people. So that changes how I consume or interact with the content and stories. And I just want things maybe to some fresher ideas, different perspectives. It feels to me, maybe I've seen too much of how the sausage is made. I've been a little bit too deep in, even though I haven't got to make as much stuff.
Oh yeah.
I've met too many people. I've shook too many hands. I know too much of what's going on before everybody else does. And I'm like, well, I'm seeing the same people. If I'm not seeing the same people, I'm seeing similar people that was 20 years ago or 15 years ago, 10 years ago. You ain't letting enough different people in. So now I'm getting bored with the stories. And if I'm getting bored with the stories, that means everybody else is going to get bored with the stories eventually.
Yeah. Well, and you bringing up what you did about how the sausage is made. That's a fascinating thing about being a podcaster, is that, meeting creators and getting to know creators and getting to know just a little bit more and sometimes a lot more about what goes on behind the scenes. You really have to try to separate that in your mind when you're reading this stuff. And sometimes you can do it. Other times you can't. Like, I hold grudges. so
I understand.
Why?
So does Evan Dorkin.
Listen, Evan, you're not listening to this. I still thank you very much for putting me in my place. That's all I'm saying. Okay, all right.
Dang, I missed all this. Man.
Literally, no. First interview I ever did on this show was Evan Dorkin. I had no idea what the fuck I was talking about. Okay, like I knew surface level. I knew like, oh, he created Supergirl in the animated series. You know, I knew a little bit about his comics, but not a lot about his comics. And he put me in my place as a youngin, and I appreciate that to this day because I feel like I became a better interviewer because of that. To actually do the damn research when you need to do it.
You know what? You know what?
On because you know their name.
I don't want to see. This is because this adds to my feelings about comics. Like, was he putting you in his place?
Mm-hmm.
Should he have put you in your place and not use that moment to like help you understand things in a less combative way? Because
no, but you know what? He actually kind of did.
Okay, maybe I need to listen to it. But sometimes when I listen to people talk to people who might not know certain things, they shouldn't know things because they buy comic books, man. Like they don't need to know how everything is done.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
There's other things about all my different interests of like the art world and learning film criticism world, know how that goes wrong. So when sometimes I hear comic people talk, it make me feel away. It make me not want to read the books.
No, absolutely. And to be fair, Brent was literally teasing me on that shit. Like when I say that he was schooling me, I'm saying it was, experienced guy, inexperienced podcaster. Maybe I should have read up on my shit a little bit, and it taught me that lesson in that fashion. Like not really in a mean-spirited way. I haven't listened to it, to be fair, in 20 years either. So like I gotta go back on that shit myself and see how I feel about it today. But to this day, I would shake his hand.
It helped you. He helped you. That's good.
He definitely helped me. He absolutely did. Yeah. I want to go to Shawn on this one, and then we'll move on a little bit. But Shawn, let me know how your reading has changed in the last 20 years.
Boy, got to jump off of mute. Like most folks, when I met you guys initially, big collections, big runs, buying tons of books. Holy cow! Do you remember, Shane, when we were binding our books?
Yeah.
Okay, so
yep.
And then I had a girl, and that collection no longer exists. But what I do now is I've been chasing like curated cuts at things. So for example, the last 5 years I've been doing Spider-Man on the cover of non-Spider-Man books.
Nice.
Shawn's rules, right? So I can add stuff in, I can keep stuff out.
Sure.
And it's a nice cross section, and I end at 1999 because after that, Spider-Man's on every book, or every book is a Spider-Man book. But early on, it was only once or twice a year in the 60s and early 70s that Spider-Man would be on the cover of X-Men or Fantastic Four or Daredevil. And it's like 66 books. It's a cute little collection that has a story behind it. And I pick up the books when I travel. You guys have known that forever, right? Like I'm buying comics in whatever town I'm in. I'm not out at the titty bar or whatever. I'm looking for a different dollar bin, if you know what I'm saying.
Nice.
And, the comics have a little note on the back with their provenance, like, hey, Motor City Comic Con. And then I remember I was on a project there working in Detroit. Or, total sidebar, Rick, I got to reach out to you because I did not, I'm from Albany, Schenectady, Troy. I went to Shaker High School.
So okay.
Yeah, but we can't do that here. But
No. We'll be in touch.
Put a pin in it. Yeah, so I'm kind of back to, once I purged the trying to keep up with everything, I have my pull list at Isotope because I've been going there for 20 something years. What am I going to do? Quit on James? How does that work? Right.
Yeah. Great store. Love that place.
And it's not a lot of books. It's Spider-Man, Batman, Daredevil, and I think Shane, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And that's it. And then I pick up other books at Blue Moon if there's something interesting. Like I've been picking up the Swamp Thing revisit.
Yep.
And like everyone else, I don't begrudge as much as I did 10 years ago. Well, they don't make comics like they can't make comics. If they keep making comics like they did when I was a kid, then only people like me are going to buy them and the whole thing will die.
Exactly.
So I get, like my daughter and I met at that first animated Spider-Man. Like that's where our streams crossed.
Yeah.
So, I dig into that stuff. And like, Bob was saying, come on, guys, how many trade paperbacks do you have on your bookshelf that are technically to be read?
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I'm at the age now where if I don't like what's currently on the shelf, I can go over here. I'm looking at a G.I. Joe compendium. I'm looking at a Nightwing compendium. I'm looking at.
Yeah.
So there. I'll keep it short because, I'm not a regular on the show, but I think I can keep it to a hot 4.
Oh, please. No, I appreciate that. I also appreciate while we've been talking, someone's been listening. So I'm going to go ahead and call him out and have him go on video here. Bionic Dave himself has joined the Zoom. So if you want to go ahead and come on camera real quick and let us know how reading comics has changed for you in the last 20 years. And for that matter, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, when I joined, I thought there'd be way more people here. And I looked around and thought maybe I was the only one that was not a part of the production of the podcast.
No. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was going to be more like a YouTube live thing where I just can kind of lurk, but
we're going to get to YouTube Live eventually, but yeah, like I fully expected that there'd be, we broadcasted this in a Comic Timing fan group, so basically everybody who's a part of that is members of the extended family and all that means. So yeah, no, we just love to get your your involvement in one way or the other here.
Oh no, well, just real quick, I'm a Comic Timing subscriber because I am a immigrant from Comic Geek Speak.
Yes.
During all of the drama. I mean, I'd listened to Comic Timing a few times in the past, but certainly during that whole drama, I looked around and I made my choice, and I'm very happy.
We appreciate it for it. Yeah.
Same, Dave. So.
And are you asking how my comic reading has changed in the last 20 years?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, yeah, with the 20th anniversary, it's been on my mind, so I'd love to get your take.
I mean, the most dramatic shift has been in 2011, the New 52 just pulled me into digital comics. And it was really my first exposure to reading comics weekly digitally. And not only did I think it was kind of a fun step into the future, but at that time in my life, space in my home was at a premium.
Yeah.
So, my 23 short box collection, if you were to, which I still have in my closet in my home, by the way, but like if I were to die tomorrow and someone was cleaning out my place, they would find my comic book collection and they would figure, oh, this man died in 2011, 2012. Because all of his floppies end there. And I mean, I went digital and more or less just never went back. And, I love it. In that regard. But and then the other way, my habits have changed. I guess I'm exploring. I've explored more. Like I went from being, I wasn't just DC Marvel, but I certainly was more than I am now. Whereas now I'm also more willing to embrace, other countries' work and like people have said, before, manga and manhwa. The manhwa webtoon thing fascinates me. Like how, from what I understand, the Koreans pretty much started creating their own manhwa, but they were doing it in the digital age.
Yeah.
So they created, so the medium is created for the phone to read on the phone. This is correct?
Julian, do you know any more about that? Because you probably know more about that than I do about how manhwa really started becoming a thing.
I think it was very much manhwa and the creation of the webtoon format of the vertical scroll, which was something different that Japan wasn't doing. It was Korea setting themselves apart. Because Samsung, the second biggest manufacturer of maybe not even second, because they make all the screens even for the iPhone for the most part, and a whole bunch of other things. It was something they really pushed forward, and it was a basically new format. While it's influenced by what we know from how some of the look and the aesthetics feel very Japanese like from manga, because in a lot of ways manga or stuff from Japan is the soft power of Japan is their pop culture. And so it spread around the Eastern world the way America spread around the Western world. So it's just you ride in the train, they're a mobile society, and they started telling these romantic. There's a big thing with K-dramas and Korean horror, and they essentially got storytellers to tell these stories in this new format on the devices. And it's slowly but surely, and they've been doing it for a long time. It blew up here late. We just got onto it. The line, the company is very old. Like, they're essentially the Facebook of Korea to a certain degree. Like, they're a tech company, and they have all these different things, and they have a super app, blah, 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 blah. But that format blew up. And then, I was hearing rumblings. I think there was a horror comic that popped off one time. I'm like, have you seen this comic? You're scrolling up, and then like a face jump at you, and it goes back. I was like, oh, what they doing over there in Korea? And then you start seeing it, and they marketed it well in America too. When they decided to attack America, they marketed well. I don't know if you guys remember the webtoon. They had booths at like every convention for like 2 years. They would do panels. The guy who was running at the time, Tom Akel, was doing very approachable. But yeah, the manhwa, at this point in time, it's almost you can separate manhwa from webtoon. Yeah, because I think webtoon is its own distinct sequential format, and it's for the right now, like it's something that started overtaking Japan. So, it might be the format until we might get something new out of China. They have their own comics, and they have their own formats and innovations they want to do, and they have a lot of culture to pull from in terms of their stories and the stories they want to tell.
Yep.
So there's still a lot of like Chinese and light novels at the store.
I think it's interesting. I did watch I think Moon Channel had a really good video about why do gacha games use anime aesthetics. And a lot of it has to do, like Julian just said, like Japan was building this soft power for the past like 20, 25 years. Cool Japan was a directed initiative they started about 15, 16 years ago. I think it was around 2010. But what the thing is though, is while they were focusing on like building up like anime and like video games to some part, to some extent, they kind of fell off on other media, which gave like countries like Korea a chance to jump in. Like Japanese live action movies have never taken off in the United States, but like Parasite, a Korean movie, won Best Picture here. Yeah, and and you look at like we all know BTS and other K-pop groups, but most Americans could never name a single Japanese performer except for the Sukiyaki guy. To be honest,
K-pop Demon Hunters is one of the highest grossing animated movies of the last we might as well just say 20 years. Like it's freaking huge.
It's a big property. It was made by a Japanese company, which I think is it's the overall
Insidious.
Yeah. No, but it's the overall growing thing of I don't want to get into politics, but
culture creep. Yeah.
The Eastern aesthetics has overtaken because, like, Kris, you're right. Because even if you go back even before Cool Japan, I say the Japan thing started with us with Nintendo and letting people license anime to turn into other shows. How you get Macross into Robotech, Go Lion into Voltron.
Yep.
Because it follows off from martial arts films in the 70s, specifically urban communities, that people really latched onto it. And if black people say something is cool, In America, it becomes cool.
Yeah.
And guess what?
He's right.
Black people said anime was cool, and then low key, and not even low key, Latin America said Dragon Ball was cool.
Yep.
And guess what happens? It is the most dominant thing, and it's just a slow growth. Because Japanese horror was a thing in the 2000s. The Ring, all that stuff was Japanese horror. J-pop never really popped off, but it was starting to bubble because of Dance Dance Revolution and certain games and the growth of the PlayStation, and then it just died out.
Yeah.
And then K-pop right now came on in because you copy black music from the 90s. You going well. You make some R&B tracks. You do some dance moves, right? They got rhythm. They can dance. They can sing. And I was just like, they got it. And so we're gonna see a lot of things change. And people. Korea learned from Japan, and now China, which kind of had a pre-start, is also going to learn from Korea, and then they're all going to start to work together. And then people love One Piece now. If you told us 20 years ago, no one here would have known what One Piece was.
Oh, of course not. Yeah, and by the way, it goes both ways. There's people in Japan that think that Brooklyn is a brand and not a place. Because they see so many Brooklyn shirts and stuff like that.
New York Yankees hat, you get tourists asking, where do I get a New York hat? And you're like, you can find those anywhere. But then you find out they specifically mean the Yankees logo.
Yeah, exactly. But to them, it's just New York because it's just like it's a culture.
It does have NY on it, and
that's true.
New Yorkers are very prominent in their love of their city and their teams.
And hats with peas on them are okay too, Brandon. I'm just saying.
We still love you. But also, just to follow a little bit, also, Julian said about how you have like Samsung is one of the biggest electronics companies. They're making the displays for other companies, electronics. It's kind of worth noting, like going back to Japan, was that they were, we always talk about Japan as living in the future. And in the 2000s, like the way cell phones took off there was just insane. Like they had these huge ecosystems that we never really quite developed here in the United States. But then once we got the iPhone and other like smartphones, but mostly the iPhone, I'll be honest there, like that we started building up that. But Japan had already invested in the infrastructure for the flip phones. So it took them a lot longer to get into smartphones and what smartphones could do. While again, Korea was like, we got Samsung here, so what else are we gonna do, man?
And like everybody has Samsung phones. They also like national pride stuff by Samsung phones, and then you start seeing them making media for that format, and then there's a lot going on, and it's just when you look at things and try to look at why things connect or what other countries are into, and then sometimes we just be too much into what we like, or maybe certain new voices or certain people aren't let in, so they go and they look for other things in other places.
But that's also how the comics industry itself has changed so much in the last 20 years, is that there are so many more voices available. Like as the independent industry has grown and evolved, and not even just that, but even the bigger companies have been getting, so many more diverse voices involved with the making of comics and ensuring that there quite literally is a comic book for everyone if they want to read it. It doesn't have to be a superhero comic every single time. Like, Kris and I used to do our American Comics for Manga Fans panel at anime conventions, and we would make sure to do as many different genres as possible to remind folks out there that it ain't just manga that has as many different genres as possible and as many different creators as possible in the world of comics. American comics has that going for it as well, and it's even more prevalent and prominent today than it was 20 years ago, and I will stand by that 100%.
Well, and I agree with
Of course,
100%. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, of course, now a lot of American Western comic book art and writers are influenced by manga as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Go ahead, Kris.
No, I was just saying, because we talked about this many times, is that I think Image in the past, 10 years or so, 15 years, has created such a diversity of titles that affect pretty much every genre.
Yeah.
And they're one of the companies I look to first now when I'm looking for something new to read, or a particular creator is often associated with them. And, Lazarus Saga, on and on and on. I mean, there's so many great titles that company's produced. I mean, they come a long way from that. This is just my opinion, that sludge they were producing back in the 90s. I mean, this is,
Dragon alone.
There was good stuff back then.
There was, and then there was also bad stuff.
Hey, you said Alan Moore was writing He was writing Image.
Yeah.
He wrote a couple issues. That was about it. Yeah.
Now, I'll be kind to Image and say that, like, yeah, the first few years, let's be honest, when it was the original creators being like, I could write comics too.
No, they couldn't.
Yeah. And the thing is, once they realized, no, you can't stop doing that. The hire people who know what they're doing.
Yep.
And like, there was a sharp uptick. First, you know, you had like the superhero stuff. Like, I remember that's when I got into like Wildstorm stuff because I was like, oh man, in a few short years, he really created like a mythology. Well, I'm realizing most of that was Warren Ellis, but you know.
What Warren Ellis, Alan Moore. They're like,
yeah.
Wow, he's writing a lot of Wildcats.
And listen, even today, you know, if you're an established creator of comics and you want to publish your X-Men fan fiction, you can do it. You can absolutely do it if they give you a truck of money and you say okay to it. John Byrne, hire him.
I thought we weren't going to be political on this podcast.
We're not going to be political on it. I just like making fun of them on that. We're gonna transition over to some CT facts that Brent put together. Dave, thank you so much for bringing up this topic though. That was freaking an awesome deviation, and I'm so happy we went there. But Brent, please, you know the floor is yours, man. You put these together, so I want to hear them.
Okay, so. A couple weeks ago was like, you know, I was listening to our famous brethren, our alternative podcast, CGS, and inspired by their history of CGS segments, I was like, you know what, we're coming up on 20 years. Let's do some stats about comic timing because we don't have as much episodes as that lauded podcast, but we do have some fun things. So what I did first of all was go through a lot of people who, you know, are on this particular podcast and as part of our history, and just, you know, put together like a baseball card for them. So we'll just go through I don't know if you want to go through who's got the most episodes. Of course, it's Ian, starting with episode 0.
What?
He's at 200. Somehow it counted Ian as 281. Now I was doing this in the back end of the podcast where
that's with the extra points probably also.
Yeah, with the extra points and I don't know. It was counting like all the different feeds on there. So we've had hosted episodes and we had BK's Bullet Shorts and all this stuff. So that's I don't know how you're not over 288, but whatever. So you're the one because I was going by the tags basically. So if Ian and Brent posted a podcast correctly and tagged everybody correctly, this is how that was generated.
Got it.
But yeah, episode 0 of Comic Timing, way back on April 30th, 2006.
Yep.
And that episode title was called Ideas! ! And his most recent episode is, of course, this one, 288, July 1st, 2026. I myself have 180 episodes of Comic Timing. First appeared on episode 22.
Yep.
October 27th, 2006, which was Next Wave, Superman Returns sequel, and Moon Knight TV show, which didn't happen until a long time ago.
No, it did not. I also want to point out, in some ways, that was kind of like a transitioning of the guard because that was one of Matt Summers' last episodes, and then you just never left. So there you go.
Yes. So I have all the co-hosts on here, so we'll just go through the first appearances of everybody. Raph, not on this episode, but he has been on 170 episodes, and it's beginning with number 29 back in January 4th, 2007, the 2006 year in review. He was last seen on 283, Superman, Spider-Man, and vice versa.
Yep.
Kris, next up on my list, 58 episodes, first appearing on episode 92, July 5th, 2009, which is Anime Next in Boston recap. Brandon, 63 episodes and counting, first appearing on episode number 30 in January 14, 2009, which was the Justice Society 1 and 2 episode, which I think we re-recorded also.
Yes, we did. Yep.
That was a long... Did we do that in the same night? That was a long...
No, we didn't. That's what it was. We got to about like midnight. We were done recording. Then we lost the recording, and then we came back like a day later, and we redid it.
The most famous artist on Comic Timing, Jamal Igle, of course, 30 episodes and counting. First appearing on episode number 72 back in September 15, 2008, which is the CGS Super Show episode where Ian interviewed him.
Yep.
Donovan, 34 episodes, appearing since episode 125 back in September 2011. The new DCU.
Oh,
yes.
Was his first episode. Raging Bullets, I just counted them as a group. So either Shawn or Jim have been part of 16 episodes, starting with number 3A.
Yep.
Back when Ian was doing the Raging Bullets naming convention, May 17th, 2006. And that was the Infinite Crisis 7, 52, and 1 year later episode.
Yep.
Shane, now we're getting into Gold Team here. 14 episodes and counting, first appearing on episode 150 way back in January 2014. I'm sensing a pattern. January of every year, we have a new first appearance. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Thereabouts. Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't have an episode title for subject of that. Kris Eberle, 19 episodes and counting, first appearing on 179 back in May 1st, 2016. There's always time for collecting comics. Must have been schooling us on how to collect them. Murd, 32 episodes and counting, first appearing on episode 58 way back in March 2008. MegaCon Part 2, which is where I first met Murd, if he remembers at all.
That's also where Comfort and Adam, that's where we first met them.
Yes. And that all those restaurants are no longer there, including that Fridays.
Oh, man.
Julian Lytle, 20 episodes and counting. First episode was, number 62, NYCC Part 1 wrap-up back in April of 2008.
Nice.
Shawn Pryor.
One for each year.
and that is counting this episode. So I updated everybody as we were sounding off in the beginning. So this is your current episode count. Shawn Pryor, since he was here, he got updated to 18. First appearing on 79, State of Trade paperbacks. And here we have the lauded ex-co-host section. Toby Cook, 7 episodes. First appearing on episode 0, April 30th, 2006. Episode 0, Ideas! Exclamation point. And I'm surprised that Ian has never seen Toby in person.
I've never met Toby in person, and he is the original host of Comic Timing. He's the one who suggested the idea to me, and I was there as co-host. And then by like episode 3 or 4, he unfortunately had some life stuff come up, and I stepped in and became host from there, and I never let go.
I found that out as I was asking the crew. Like, I need some pictures of Ian and everybody else that's been a part of Comic Timing on a regular basis to post on the gram. David Price, ex-co-host, 15 episodes, first appearing on episode number 1, way back in May 1st, 2006. Queer Eye for the Comic Book Guy was the title of that episode. Matt Summer, the next in line, 11 episodes. First episode was right before number 15 is what I have in my notes. I don't know why that is.
Oh, that was the Civil War episode, if I remember correctly. So that was episode 14B, technically.
Okay, yeah, it wasn't numbered. Maybe that's why I put it in there. But yeah, Civil War delay special. And then we have the people who have been on the most number of episodes, including everybody on this call. John Mayo, 19 episodes, right before 15, Civil War delay special. Chris Chavez, 7 episodes from 2006, Restarts versus Continuity.
And Chris Chavez was a part.
And Bob.
Hold on, I gotta say, Chris Chavez was a part of the episode where I had to re-record all of my parts. So, yeah.
Bob Bretall, 6 episodes and counting, starting back from number 23, way back in November 2006. Manga! Exclamation point. Julian Lytle, 21 and counting, first appearing on episode 43, way back in August 2007. The NYCC 2007 wrap-up. And then Rick Gordon he counted 4 episodes. But I know he was we had the Pop Cult Online League of Comic Book Podcasts, so I was trying to count correctly which episode he was appearing on, as opposed to when you credited the network. But that was episode 115, November 28th, 2010, NYCC wrap up. So what you will notice, dear listener, is that our numbering has gone up and down, up and down. I was describing this at work yesterday as I was telling people, I'm celebrating 20 years of my podcast that I'm on. We had a very interesting period back when Ian was finishing college and I was still in college, where we had Thursday nights at 10 every week, going nonstop. Come hell or high water, we were recording. Something was going on. And then, as I like to say, things happen in Ian's life. It's basically how this goes. Whether he moved out somewhere or got a new girlfriend and puppy love, and he was busy with Martha, whom we love now. And we fell by the wayside, and then he got involved in CGS, and we were still by the wayside. So we went once a month, once every 6 months, once every 8 months. And now we're back on the upswing, going Ian's trying to shoot for 4 episodes a month and things like that. So that's why the numbers are up and down, up and down, up and down. But we were really consistent for a good long while there.
We were, and I'll also point in there that our listenership is at this point at some of the highest it's ever been. So I want to thank everybody for sticking with us through these ebbs and flows and coming over from one podcast to another. If any of you did that, we highly appreciate it. But yeah, we're very much in the long haul here, and I know the last couple of weeks have been more every 2 weeks than every week. But we are definitely putting out 2 to 4 podcasts a month. That's 100% the plan. So absolutely.
Yep. All right. A little bit more here. Most listened to episode according to Ian, who didn't check the Justice League Whedon episode. So way back when that movie came out with the Whedon version.
Yeah.
Worst listened to episode. I don't think this is real, but he says the Evan Dorkin interview. I think just because he's not proud of it.
No. It's not true. I have no idea which episode did worse. So yeah.
There are 33 BK's Bullets episodes on the feed, 6 comic book laundries, 37 convention reports, 21 extra points, which are now on the Patreon, 21 previews, 16 review corners, 8 rogues galleries, and overall anything called a syndicated episode, there's 15 of those.
A shout out to our Australian buddy for the rogues galleries right there. Rogues Gallery, I would love to go back to at some point, but he went by Lord Shaper on the forums. And Damien
Smith. Yeah.
Damien Smith is an amazing human being, and he still checks in every now and then. And he's even floated the idea of possibly coming back at some point. So it was a huge part of our early days with his Rogues Gallery segment. So was super happy to have him involved.
He is still the first person to wish me happy birthday since he lives in Australia.
Yes, he is.
Every year. No doubt about it. Yep. Worst interview, Ian says this is Blake Leibel. He was a murderer, apparently.
Yes.
As we found out late last episode as we were talking about this after we stopped recording.
If you want to look up his name, you can. But he went to the to the podcast arena and got a whole bunch of interviews. And a couple of years later, he was in the news. So yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. All right. Last thing. So I'll just highlight some notable years here. 2006. There were 20 comic timing episodes released, 23 total on the feed.
Yep.
And then our highest year was 2007 with 34 episodes from comic timing and 41 on the feed. Episode 50 was released in 2007.
Yep.
So we were going really fast.
Yes, we were.
Our most fallow period, 2022, with only 10 episodes of CT released and 16 on the feed.
Yeah.
Surprised there's that many.
Surprised too.
So, that's just, I have some weird things from Gemini on here, but I don't think they're worth reading.
Okay. Yep. So I will also point out that I have recorded this podcast from it, not counting live episodes and in-person episodes with Brent, but I have recorded this show from regularly 1, 2, 3, at least 4 different locations over the years, 5 different locations, because that counts Seattle. And when I was living in Bellevue, Washington for those few months, we recorded from there. My setup was ridiculously silly because it was before I was using a mixer. So back in the day, I had a microphone that looked just like this microphone here. Connected directly to the line-in jack of my computer, and I had read audio on the laptop, and that's how I would get both sides of the call. And that's also why that one episode with Kris Chavez, that end of year episode 185, went so horribly awry, because I got a new laptop and thought I could still do that with it, and it didn't pick me up at all. So at that point, I finally got a mixer, and we've been using a mixer to record episodes ever since, and that's the proper way to do it, honestly. So that's how that's gone over the years. And we have recorded multiple episodes from a park in Auburndale, Florida, with trains going by. So that's
many trains.
many trains. Yep.
And hopefully we'll do it next week.
Hopefully, yeah. So, or maybe in a air conditioned place, but either way,
that's true.
Yeah, because I like outside. I don't like outside when I burn. We're gonna transition here officially to the Supergirl part of the episode. So those of us who have seen Supergirl and want to be a part of it, stick on. Rick, if you want to stick around, by all means. But if you've read the book, then you basically saw most of the movie, even though there's a couple changes here and there, so it's not really that much of a difference. But that's entirely up to you, my friend. You're on mute.
Muted.
Hold on. There you
How's
go.
that?
There we go.
Yeah.
I will take my leave now. It was good seeing, talking, interacting with everybody, and I feel like I've got the fire in my belly to start doing this podcasting thing again. So thanks for that.
I gotcha.
Got me. You got me. So, all right. So long, everybody. I will see you on the other side, and everybody, you know how to get a hold of me. So
yes, I'll be in touch, Rick. I'm up by Albany all the damn time, so I'll keep you.
Yeah, posted. I know. He never stops by.
Keeping track.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Take care, man.
All right.
Adios.
Ian, I think I might hop out also because I do want to not be spoiled by this also. So
okay, sounds good, Brandon. I mean, come on, man. You're a regular. We love having you. I love you, man. And here's to doing this as long as we can.
It's another 20 years, man.
Damn Skippy.
Can I go the other way? I haven't seen the movie, but I'm not quite ready to pull out yet. So
okay.
Oh.
Ian, I have to depart as well, unfortunately.
No worries, Kris.
I saw the movie, but I have other stuff I have to attend to.
That's fine. If you want to just give your quick summary of it before you disappear, by all means. I had a feeling you wouldn't be too happy about it. So
I'll just say this. I had the same experience I had watching the Fantastic Four, where about 10 minutes in, the seasoned moviegoer's stomach just turned to a rock, and I said, "Oh, this isn't good." Nothing to do with the acting, none of that. It was just the script was flat, and I was struggling to stay awake.
No, fair enough.
Which is a shame because the book they adapted is a tremendous book, and they got the beats, they didn't get the heart. So that's my quick take on it. So I'm sure other people enjoyed it more. But I just want to say to you, brother, congratulations, and it's wonderful having a home here with you, and I really appreciate it.
You better believe it, Kris, and we'll be podcasting again soon, no doubt.
You better believe it. All right, good night, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you, Kris.
Bye, guys.
Adios.
Night, Brandon. Good to see you.
I am the only Kris now.
Final Kris left standing.
Also, because it's halftime.
Because
it's halftime. Because it's halftime. The people listening to this will already know we are up 1-0 against Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Okay.
With
Excellent.
a goal by, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Folarin Balogun.
Well,
at 45 minutes.
This will just continue the mentioning sports on this podcast in one form or another, because my literal favorite was during the NBA Finals when Raph and I were doing the previews episode, and we're like, well, it's a good thing we're not watching because the Knicks are down by 30, and then we finished up with 2 minutes left to go. Yep, and then we both watched it over Zoom together as the comeback finished. So
legendary.
Yep, Dave, I see you raising your hand there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I should unplug at this point too.
Okay, great.
It's dinner time here in LA, but I want to say that it was an honor to be part of this. And happy anniversary, Comic Timing. Keep on going another 20 to 40 to 60 years, however long you choose.
Wow, I will continue to get off people's lawns then. Excellent. Okay.
And Bionic Dave, reach out, man. Fellow Californian.
Oh, are you also in California?
I'm in Orange County.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right near me. I'm currently in the San Fernando Valley, but I usually live in West Hollywood. So
okay, I grew up in the San Fernando Valley.
Oh, we have lots to talk about.
Sometime.
All right, Bob. Nice to meet you. And all right, everyone, have a great night. And thanks again for letting me be a part of this.
Absolutely. Take care, man.
Good night.
I similarly have to bounce in about 10 minutes because my wife poked her head in and said dinner will be in about 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. Well, then you know what? Let me just play this comment from Raph real quick, and then we'll go ahead and get things started. So this is a good time to play it.
Hey, so this is my voice memo. Hello, Comic Timing listeners. Hello, fellow hosts, whatever we call ourselves. It's Raph. I'm at Newark Airport right now, about to fly out to meet some friends for the 4th of July weekend. Just dropping some notes here about the Supergirl movie and some other stuff. So basically, Supergirl, pretty decent movie. I liked it. It's a decent adaptation of Tom King's story. The depth of the story that he wrote. I really like Millie Alcock's performance. They did take some liberties with the end there, but I'm sure the rest of the crew is going to talk about that. Yeah, I liked it. I might see it again. I've seen it once so far. And as for the 20th anniversary, man, what a crazy journey it's been, from getting together at a dive bar somewhere in Hell's Kitchen to 2 decades of friendship, podcasts, goofy moments, cons, all this other amazing stuff. So here's to friendship, here's to Comic Con, here's to 20 more years.
All right. And there you have it. There's Raph's take on Stuff and Things, and congratulating us on Stuff and Things. So we'll start with Bob, since he's got to exit in about 10 minutes. So Bob, what was your thoughts on the Supergirl movie?
I liked it. Similar to other people, it's like I thought that the adaptation of Tom King's story was generally good, but they downplayed a lot of the things with Krem, and he's not like the strongest bad guy for a movie, right? So he seemed not that threatening as far as a movie level villain kind of goes. And again, I don't know how much spoilers we want to get into, but like the ending, like really took like kind of a left turn from the way that it ended in the comic. And I thought that the comic ending was better, but I can understand why they did it the way that they did it, because it was a better kind of Hollywood ending for that portion of Hollywood that's not like just bitterly predisposed to hate on the movie for the variety of reasons that people have chosen to hate on the movie. Right. I have a hot take that I really, really, really hate Crypto, and most people love Crypto.
I agree.
And it's mostly because he's a bad dog.
Yeah,
I
terrible
agree with
dog.
that. I agree. Yeah.
Yep.
Like in Guardians of the Galaxy, right? They call Cosmo a bad dog, and that sets Cosmo into a funk, because Cosmo is not a bad dog, and Cosmo knows she's not a bad dog. You call Crypto a bad dog to his face, and he would just tell you to F off because he's a bad dog.
Yeah.
And it's like, who can have this dog that's like peeing on stuff in the house and just ripping stuff up? And it's just like,
I get tired of him being completely destructive.
Well, maybe
Crypto has bad parents. That's what that means.
But played for comedy, and I think that's the whole thing. Is like people like that. You know, people seem enamored with Crypto, whereas I kind of grew up reading Superman comics where Crypto was Superman's dog and was a faithful companion that was a well-behaved and like an addition to things, not like kind of a disruptor. You know, but it was for me, it's kind of in the middle of superhero movies. It wasn't the greatest superhero movie, but it certainly wasn't terrible. And to see people just really talking it down in like really harsh ways, I kind of don't get that. But I'm not going to say it's the greatest movie ever. And when I look at it, I loved Lobo. I mean, Jason Momoa, way better as Lobo than as Aquaman.
Yep. Agreed.
But at the same time, it's sort of a problem when I walk out of the Supergirl movie thinking that the greatest thing about that movie was Lobo. When I didn't even really particularly love the Lobo comics. You know, it wasn't like that wasn't my favorite comic ever, you know, so.
Well, and to piggyback off of that, it's not like Lobo was even part of the original story, even if that was part of Tom King's initial pitch, which I later learned is that he wanted it to be basically a True Grit with Supergirl and Lobo, and then it evolved into the comic book that we got, Sans Lobo, and then reinserted here in the movie, where it's almost like, you know what we should be thinking? Every time Lobo's not on screen, we should be thinking, where's Lobo? We should be talking about Lobo. Like,
should have access to a time machine.
Yeah. So definitely on that. Yeah, I had similar thoughts, and I'll get further into mine after I ask Shane thoughts on the movie.
Mine are very similar to Bob's. And I agree. I get tired of Crypto just being a bad dog. I could accept it in the Superman movie a little bit because it was new, but man, he's got to be trained a little bit better than that by this time. And I agree. It wasn't the best superhero movie I ever saw. It certainly wasn't the worst.
Mm-hmm.
I think they certainly made some interesting choices to get to the ending that they used. But like Bob said, it is a great Hollywood ending, but it serves the story so much better in the book that it was jarring when it got to that part at the end. Loved Lobo. Like you said, I thought he was great as Aquaman, but he is a better Lobo, and he just looked like he had a lot of fun doing it. Every other cast in the movie was very well done. I thought production-wise, it was a very well-made movie. Costumes were great, special effects were great, and I like the actress as Supergirl. I look forward to seeing her in more movies down the road. But I don't quite get all the hate, and I encourage people to go see it. And then if they never have, I'm encouraging them to go see it and then go read the book, because the book is so much more fulfilling of a story.
And I'll also add on that if you are a DC Infinite Ultra member, and your renewal is ready, you can get a physical copy of Supergirl as part of that subscription. So just want to point that out. That's how I got my copy, and that's how I initially wound up rereading it. So,
one other thing, Ian, and it's kind of and I don't know if you agree with this, Shane, but kind of a general problem of Superman, Supergirl, any kind of really powerful character, and its stories in the comics as well as on screen.
Mm-hmm.
They spend so much time depowering the character because otherwise things would just be over immediately. So it's like, okay, let's have her on a red sun world. Let's have her on a green sun world.
Yeah.
Let's shoot her up with kryptonite darts. Let's do this, that, and the other thing to make her not be Supergirl.
And that was the worst part, was the darts, because how would he even know that was a thing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
made
on
no
Super
sense.
Friends, when every two-bit hood had a kryptonite ray gun sitting under his bed.
It's like, where'd he get all these wonderful toys?
Yeah.
That is the Star Trek Next Generation school of poisoning, too. You know, like, when you can be poisoned with radiation and you could come up to being 5 seconds away from dying, and then you get a cure and you're perfectly fine, and there's no bad effect from like being poisoned almost unto death.
Yeah.
And even just for Krem, I liked his design in the book. I did not care for his design in the movie as much.
They made it edgelord.
Yeah,
they did.
When he's supposed to be just a dude, right?
Yeah.
Like he's supposed to be unremarkable.
No, you know what they made him? You know what they made him? Because I mean, it's all over the movie, so I may as well say it. They made him Mad Max Fury Road. Like they went fully into the Mad Max aesthetic in this, where I even messaged Kris after I saw it, like, wow, I really enjoyed Mad Max Lobo Road, like, because like that's basically what this became, especially near the end. With some of the sequences,
he's very like Man of Steel, Kryptonian, also in his design. Like that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, Murd, over to you. I know you enjoy a good dog, so I'd love to get your take on Bad Dog.
Oh no.
Well, I think I, like most of us here, sounded off on this when we watched the most recent Superman movie. But yeah, I'm glad that I have the majority opinion here. Crypto needs to stop looking and acting quite so much like James Gunn's friggin' mutt and start looking and acting the way Crypto's supposed to. Because, you know what? Look here. See? That's Crypto. He looks like a bull terrier. He's larger. He's housebroken. He has near human intelligence.
Yeah.
I just want to remind all of you, because people keep missing this, it's a prequel.
Wait, what?
The dog is
it?
younger. The dog is younger.
I mean, I know he wasn't wearing a cape, but I don't.
The dog is
This is not
younger.
before Superman. This is not
Well,
before
in the,
Superman.
in the flashbacks.
And how is he
Clearly
smaller?
it's not a prequel to the Superman movie because
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm watching
It's called bad continuity of design.
Yeah, because the dog is clearly meant
It's
to be
just
younger.
really smaller.
I don't know. On that table, that dog was like this big. He was fairly large, I thought.
I would not say clearly. I would disagree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the exact timeline is, but I was like, it felt early.
I agree
Yeah.
with you, Kris. There is moments in which it's not consistent with how Crypto was designed in Superman, but the film, they're not going backwards. It's literally Creature Commandos, Superman, Peacemaker season 2, Supergirl, Lanterns, then Clayface is in there somewhere, and then Man of Tomorrow. But yes, I agree. You're not wrong with how you're viewing these things, and it's one of the issues I have with the film. But
and James Gunn 3 months ago responded to somebody asking where Supergirl takes place, said it takes place between Superman and Man of Tomorrow, if that's what you mean.
Yeah,
so,
it doesn't feel like, not just like with Crypto, but it's also the uniform thing. How when she's on this trip and she's dressed in civvies, but the thing is, when we saw her come back in Superman, she was dressed in this outfit that she supposedly disdains after watching this movie.
Yeah.
Like the timeline works better if it. I fully understand what you're saying. I googled it, but it's like, the dog is designed wrong. The costume thing doesn't make any sense. The character honestly makes no sense. You know, not to spoil the end of the movie, but I thought she was going to be more friendly and less of a dick to Clark. But then the movie's just like, later, loser. And I'm like, what happened? I thought there was supposed to be character.
Sound like a review.
Well, yeah, I oh man. All right. You know what, Kris, give further thoughts, and then we'll head over to Julian.
No, because you guys got my opinion when I saw it on the Wednesday. I went to a fan screening.
Let's quote Kris. She pops on and we're like, how is Supergirl? She goes, it's a movie?
No.
It's fine.
There you go.
Fine.
It's fine. Justice League was
it's a movie.
Yeah, Justice League was it's a movie. Yeah, Supergirl was fine. It's not even close to the hype of Superman, which was a very good movie, despite any problems you might have had with it. It was still very good. Supergirl has not reached those heights. And I think a lot of the negativity is because everybody was like, well, I really like Superman. And I was like, it's not going to be Superman. I know that from reading the source material and all that. I mean, I think they hit the beats of the source material, but like, some of you guys already said, they kind of missed some of the points, like making Krem a little more, like I said, just edgelord, as opposed to just being a dude that they're following around through all these different stories and everything. And I get that you have to still cut it to fit into a 2-hour movie, and that's fine. Millie Alcock, I like Millie Alcock. I liked her in House of the Dragon. I liked her little cameo in Superman. Like, I didn't have any problem with her. Crypto, I like Crypto as a character. As a dog, I think he's a very bad dog. And anybody who says otherwise is lying to themselves. I was about to say, you know what Crypto's issue is? It's like the line from The Simpsons. We've tried nothing.
Yeah.
We tried nothing and it's not working. Like, Supergirl has no interest in making him a better dog. Superman's way too nice to actually be a good dog owner in the movies. I love him, but he's too nice.
Yeah.
My biggest issue, I feel like I'm just going to bring it out, is like, I had no problem with the ending in the movie as it is. I kind of agree with Jamal, who said that it works for the movie. And I think they're trying to make a contrast between Kara and Clark in how they deal with problems.
Yeah.
But when I read the quote from the screenwriter in which it was clear she completely misunderstood the ending of the graphic novel.
Oh my God.
That's when I lost my, I was like, It's one thing if you are like, look, this is the ending, but I don't like it. It doesn't work for my movie. But it's, oh, I'm following what's in the book, and the writer of the book says, no, that's not how it ended. I have a bigger issue. This isn't even just the movie. I get the feeling people don't know how to read comics sometimes.
I could not believe when I read that, and I posted it in our little blue team chat, and I was like, this is spoilers for Supergirl, but this is insane. Because she's like, I've read the book so many times before I read the script. And it's like, I know Julian's got a lot of inside baseball, so we'll get to him. But she's like, literally, but to me,
she could have just asked the question. That's all I gotta say. All she could have just called him up. That's all she had to do.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Or anybody reading the script after she wrote it could have been like, and if James Gunn is like, this is one of my favorite graphic novels from the last 10 years. Yeah. I'm sorry, bro. When did you last read it? Because this just shows me, like, in my job, like, there are times when I work with a very large company on the other side of contracting, and those guys, they're all like siloed. Like, one guy's worried about one thing, and I'm looking at big picture, and I know that this connects to this because this is, and I'm like, are you guys talking to each other? And it's clear that they're not. And I'm like, you guys, we got to get in one room. Pretty much what this demonstrated to me is that in Hollywood, they're not talking to each other that much either. Because if you got James Gunn saying, this is a great graphic novel, go read it, and the lady goes and reads it so many times, if she says she did, misses the point of the thing, and then if Tom King's a supervising producer and he read the script at one point, and if he said something or didn't, we don't know. But even if he did, nobody listened to him. Like, what the hell, man? I that's just, to me, so it's clear that they're working on things, and I'm getting that they're comic fans and stuff like that. Cool. And they're adapting modern stuff. Cool. I'm a fan of that. And they're pushing the graphic novel, which is the most important thing out of this whole thing, right? They're pushing this graphic novel really hard, which is great. But it's clear that, like, nobody's talking to each other, and that's disappointing.
Yeah. Well, my thing is, so let me just finish my thought, and then we can move on, is just that I feel like people don't know how to read comics. And I mean, this is part of a larger, like, lack of media literacy in our society. But, like, when I read that comic, and it took a second to be like, oh, the text and the picture are no longer aligning because we're doing unreliable narrator. And I get the feeling that they focused more on the words, wherein they describe basically what happens in the movie. And she didn't really look at the pictures. Yeah. Because the way I always read the lens of that graphic novel is like, first of all, an old lady beating a guy with a cane is not going to kill him, especially like Krem after this whole storyline. We know he's not that weak. Yeah. But it's the arm coming up and coming down. You're supposed to read that as like, never mind kind of thing. Like, it's supposed to be a funny ending, the way Supergirl's kind of just floating there like a little pixie and everything. So that's what I was like, did you guys look at the pictures? Just look at the fucking pictures. No,
you're exactly right. It's just like anything where you see the old woman hitting somebody with a cane. She's clearly, just like, kind of a thing.
It's supposed to be a fuck that guy ending. And they missed exactly.
that.
Yeah. And
it doesn't matter anymore.
Let me point out something as well, and then I'm gonna have the Julian, is one thing that I really was one of my major gripes about this movie is color is so important in the visuals of the graphic novel. Like, they use, being bathed in orange or being bathed in gold or other colors so often in the artwork of the story itself. Yes, Brent's bringing it up right now, and it's absolutely one of my favorite things about the artwork inside of the Supergirl graphic novel that this is based on. And gorgeous, luscious colors. The color palette sucks in this movie. The color palette often gets lost in dark visuals to the point where there were multiple fight scenes where I completely lost what was going on. And
like Zack Snyder returned.
Yeah, we were promised visual, like, tapestries with these movies. And now we're on the second one, and I feel like we already lost the plot. So it's not that I didn't enjoy the movie. I actually enjoyed multiple parts of this movie. It's just the overall production design of the movie was a flop for me, because I saw Mad Max Fury Road and it was awesome. I didn't have to see it as a as a superhero movie. Like I could have gotten something a little bit more unique, and that's not what they decided to go with this. But Julian, I know people can read your full review online, but you want to give your quick thoughts.
Yeah. I've talked about this movie a lot in the past week. I think the biggest sin of this movie is that it is mid. I think that led to the reaction that we're seeing in terms of, people's feelings about the superhero film genre overall, and some of the expectations people have in regards to James Gunn and Peter Safran's DC universe after Superman doing really well and being refreshing and different from what they expected from their last disappointments of MCU films, as this feels actually closer to those more disappointing MCU films, which is middle of the road. The film does it. The director Gillespie, I feel, has a lot of different influences he had on the book. I think less of, while I think there might have been some issues in regards to the screenwriter and the screenplay, in terms of, I don't think it's as tight as it could be. It's a little flat in places. I think the director had a certain vision in which he wanted to do, which is different than what was the visual language set upon in the graphic novel. And you can see that the film is very much feels like part Star Wars, part Fifth Element. Then we end on Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah. With a little bit of Game of Thrones in there with Arya Stark.
To me, even still, that's pulling off from some other space fantasy stuff. Yeah. I do think the production design is good. I just think he made boring choices, because the scene on the space bus, fantastic.
That's true. That's my favorite thing. Yeah. You're right.
You can see they put good money to the hair and makeup team, the costuming team, and the VFX did a good job. It's just that the choices from the director on what he wants certain things to look were boring, because each planet looked the same. Billy Alcock did good. Eve Ridley as Ruthie did good. As even though Jason Momoa did a great job as Lobo, as he was a good Lobo, for me, Lobo didn't add anything to the story, and I don't think he needed to be there.
100% agree. 100% agree.
He's felt like a studio note.
Yeah. Like it felt like they wanted to put Jason Momoa in a movie because he wanted to be Lobo, and they knew of the original pitch. So, and I guess in regards to this being a remake of a book, the thing of it is that there's a large influence of True Grit on the original comic.
Yeah.
And True Grit has been made into two great movies.
Yeah.
It has a film language. I think he should have borrowed more from True Grit and Westerns in general to tell the story, and he did not. And I think the movie is fine. I think it's most likely be more entertaining to watch at home on HBO Max. I gave it a C. I gave it a fresh, because a lot of people was giving it rotten, and it doesn't deserve a rotten.
No.
Like I said, it's fine.
It's fine. That's his biggest flaw, and they put it out at the wrong time. I don't know why they didn't move the date when they saw Toy Story 5 and Millions of Monsters.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It feels too soon after Superman to me.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me. If that movie would have came out in February or in August, when there's nothing in August except for Anthony Bourdain movie. That's the only big movie coming out in August.
That's how Gunn got to start. Guardians of the Galaxy came out in August, and it was a big surprise that it was like, woo.
Yeah. Like I just think they could have done some things differently and would have done better, but they are promoting the book. And that's great. And I think, it is what it is. I think Clayface is going to be the better movie.
Oh, I definitely. Well, let's put it this way. I hope so. I really, really hope so.
Horror's on a run right now, bro.
Yeah.
Horror's on a run right now. It's unstoppable.
Well, yeah. Let's think about, we were just talking about, indie comics not too long ago. Let's talk about the fact that Backrooms and Obsession are the two biggest hits, essentially, outside of Toy Story and soon to be Spider-Man Brand New Day in the summer blockbuster season.
Also, it's Scream and a Scary Movie. Scary Movie, for some reason, is getting close to $250 million.
I don't understand it because I had no interest in that movie whatsoever. But
again, Scream made a bunch of money.
Are you right?
Scream 7 made a bunch of money, and Scary Movie's connected to Scream. So it's interesting that they need to freshen up how they use these characters
Mhm.
and in different genres. I think so far they've done right on television because Peacemaker is weird and
Creature Commandos.
Creature Commandos is a very interesting cartoon.
Mhm.
And then of course they're going to come out with Mr. Miracle.
Yeah.
I think in a year or so. It
Yeah.
should be. I think it might be coming out. I don't know what they announced, but just going by production of animation.
Yeah.
And
Lanterns
they're
looks
doing different
interesting.
things. Manners is something different. But so we're
I'm
going
to say bye, Ian.
Okay.
Bye, Bob.
It was a great
Good seeing you,
time
Bob.
talking
Great
to
seeing
guys.
you.
Great
I
talking
hope
with you.
Hope to come back again.
Absolutely. We'll be happy to have you.
Okay,
Yeah.
bye.
Take care.
Yeah. Sorry, I took a bunch of time there.
No.
I can stay for another 10 minutes that I gotta go to. But yeah.
Something that Julian and Kris said about Lobo, I agree. He didn't add much to the story, but I think it's also a little odd with given what happens at the end that he's the only one that saw that.
Yeah.
So are they doing that just to bring him back and have him have a point later to say, "Hey, I saw Supergirl do this."
Yeah.
It's possible.
Nobody else saw that.
The theme of the first quote unquote arc is gods and monsters. So we'll see.
It is very possible. Yeah. Donna, let's get your take.
My take is that this movie came out at a very precarious climate for superhero films.
Yeah.
It'll watch better, I think, in a few years' time.
Oh yeah.
But right now, it's getting a lot of crap from the incel crowd, which is unfortunate but predictable.
Yeah.
But that doesn't automatically mean that it's better than what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Millie Alcock is very solid. I mean, she's clearly a very good actress.
She's great.
She carries the lead. Like this is not a situation where you need to replace the character or the actress at all. She's solid. I think the acting across the board is solid. I think everything to do with her backstory or origin, in the flashbacks are as worthy of the Superman film as you'd want them to be. This is my favorite Supergirl origin.
Oh yeah.
Which I know that there have been half a dozen of them, but when this was really successful and emotional. And Momoa does well as Lobo. I'm wondering if he's maybe a couple of years too old because I kind of envisioned Lobo a bit more energetic than he was, but he was still perfect for what he did. But I was kind of coming into this expecting to be more irritated because I was kind of seeing a common denominator of reactions from everybody. I listened to Brent's review and some other reviews and stuff like that, and I ended up enjoying it a lot more. But I still feel that this is kind of a film to observe and kind of understand how people are coming to feel how they feel. My thinking is that you have this very despondent, smarmy Supergirl. If she was in Metropolis and this story took place on Earth, I think it might be a little bit fresher because it's fair to do a kind of a different Supergirl because we had 6 years of Melissa Benoist, so you can do something different.
Right.
But what we're doing is having this sort of this isn't your mommy Supergirl. This is not what you were expecting. This is something new and different, also based on comic. Then we have half of True Grit, part of Mad Max, with a heaping helping of Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't care what Jamal says. There's an inarguable aesthetic of Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's
and I
aped.
think, yeah. And I'm not saying it's James Gunn's fault. I'm not necessarily saying that.
No.
But that's clearly invoking that to give it some recognizable flavor for the audience to enjoy, and that feels at this point in 2026. Really derivative.
Yeah, it's
on top
dishonest.
I think it's a little intellectually dishonest to suggest that there's. I don't want to talk about him when he's not here, but there's nothing in to do with it. Yeah, come on.
Wait, because I guess that's my thing. Is I know a lot of people see things as Guardians of the Galaxy, and being as a person that doesn't like Guardians of the Galaxy, I only watched it one time and I barely got through it.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I pull again more. It feels more Fifth Element, which Guardians I feel is borrowing from the Fifth Element and more French sci-fi stuff.
I could go down the list. She drowns her sorrow in music and alcohol. She's wearing a jacket the entire time. She kind of has a smart ass comment for everything.
She got the same orange earbuds that fucking Peter Quill has. Yeah.
Also, why has nobody in the production team watched Doctor Who? Why is outer space always like the Cantina bar in Star Wars, where every single planet is the
Hitchhiker's Guide,
a gutter bar,
and heavy metal.
Everybody is a scoundrel. That that feels derivative. And I also, this is a personal complaint, but this is the same thing that Logan did. I also felt some type of way about having this sort of disposable black family, just kind of get like despondently murdered
Yeah,
and then
that's
never
fair.
mentioned again.
That's very fair.
Like I did not like that. And even though I think that the whole theme of revenge, and not getting revenge or whatever, I'm all for that. That is an incoherent argument in this movie. And where the film goes, it's like it actually kind of turns to Batman Forever, to be honest. That follows the exact same track on how Batman Forever did that.
Oh boy.
But it's like this film that doesn't have a real moral compass. I don't know why Supergirl is arguing against revenge. That doesn't really inform how she feels about her origin story. That has anything to do with it.
And
so
then she goes and does it.
Well, when people say like, well, it makes sense for the movie. It makes sense for the movie in a kind of a cynical way.
No.
And it's like between that and Hawkgirl, it's like I don't know what they're actually trying to put across in terms of like the ethics. It still comes down to if it feels good, do it.
Mhm.
And I don't have a problem with the characters killing. I don't in terms of how they are, but I feel that like they're kind of what's the phrase? It's like hide your hand despite your face or whatever. It's like
Off your nose,
it's like
despite your face.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like they're speaking against it, and then they do it, and then they're kind of like winking at you like they got away with it, and it's like I'm a smarter viewer than that, and so it just irritates me.
The entire movie, we are presented with a different moral compass than what Clark was given by his own parents, because again, we could bring it back to the Supergirl to the Superman movie. He was lucky enough to have his Earth parents, but his Kryptonian parents, from what we know, were very much of the mind, and we know how much certain people on this call hate this turn, that they were about subjugate them because you can, essentially. Like
this movie totally was like, no. If you had cope about Superman, we're trying to say, they mistranslated with it. They're like, no. We're re-emphasizing it.
Oh yeah,
because Zor-El is different. He's like, I don't really rock with what my brother thinks about these things. So be good.
Exactly.
Take care of people.
And we're presented with that all movie long. We're seeing Kara's moral compass. No, this is not what we do. And then she does at the end of the movie. And it felt like it was just completely against the character that we were presented. Also, to go with the Guardians of the Galaxy of it all, so many needle drops in this movie. Most of them I was all right with. You present me with Rilo Kiley in a movie, I'm going to be a happy man. I'm sorry. I have a bias on that. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. I was very happy to have some Rilo Kiley in there. That cover of the middle at the end of the movie was terrible.
All right, see, here's my thing. Like, I don't even remember it. That's how much it didn't matter to me, because I don't even know the middle, bro. Like, I don't even think I know that song. So it's just like people are so mad about this cover.
It's too white for you.
but it most likely is. It's like it might be a song I skipped on MTV. It's like, it's time to change the channel to BET or the box or something. Like, I'm not knocking on it, but I'm just like, people making like it's so bad. I was like, bro, it's kind of forgettable because that scene is kind of just.
It was in slow motion, so it kind of stopped to drag it out.
That was the other thing. Why so many slow motion fight scenes? Why? We do not need that.
It's the return of Snyder, bro.
Oh my god. Yeah, and then people go on the thread on Facebook or Reddit and be like, bring back the Snyderverse. Like, okay, this is not a happy medium here, guys. Like, we can't we have to move on.
I like the backstory part. I like telling the origin. I like them telling it in a more Silver Age way of the origin. I enjoyed that. I think that the film was too focused from taking the story that was supposed to be told from Ruthie's perspective and her view of Supergirl and what's going on and her journey on learning how not to probably enact revenge, and too focused on Supergirl's internal struggles with whether she wants to listen to her parents words and Superman, her cousins, ideals of how we operate in the world with these powers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so like I was kind of bothered that she wasn't wearing the suit, and her putting on the suit was her cinematic rebirth after dying, because we got to follow Joseph Campbell, which I really think people need to stop copying this at this point.
Yeah.
Because I think the tropes are too easy, and now everybody knows how it works. But
she puts on the suit, to your point, to rebuild herself, be rebirthed, and then kills a guy with the S on her chest.
That to me, that doesn't bother me, because I think they're doing this thing where I almost feel, either with Hawkgirl and Superman, and how Lois acts, the women are the adults. And
Are they all going to be killers? Like,
and they're going to they're making the complicated. They're making the complicated decisions.
Yeah,
that's not complicated.
It's not. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's like it's being what is told. Like they're making the hard choices that the men aren't willing to do.
Yeah.
Do I think that is successful?
Yeah,
no, I don't think it's successful.
He's kind of doing that in Peacemaker season 2 also, like,
But the way that they're doing it isn't like, like for example, a man
also the Bride and
no
Creature
choice.
Commandos.
It's very much like this person whose life is in my hands. I'm going to gleefully kill them when they're at their lowest. And again, it's it's one thing for a movie to do that, but in an ongoing heroic narrative, that's problematic.
She wasn't gleeful.
No, she wasn't. She wasn't gleeful. She was trying
to protect Ruthie's
This is for
innocence.
my dog.
Yeah, she was
This
protecting
is for her parents.
Yeah, but
I'm not
she was
saying the
really
guy
protecting.
doesn't deserve to die, but like it's I don't know. It was.
Hold on. Let's let Shane get his thought in here. Got it.
I agree that she was protecting Ruthie and from him, because he started to say, "You think you've protected her? I will not stop. I will." Yeah. And she just ended him. Not that I like the way it ended in the book better, but it does make sense in the movie, and I feel like Supergirl did make the harder choice and protected Ruthie from what could come next. Since we're not flash forwarding to 70 years of Ruthie being an old person and dealing with this, we're given ending the story and coming to a resolution here. I understand it. I still think the book ended it better, but it does make sense for this Supergirl at the moment. But again, you're still going to have Lobo saying something to Clark at some point, going, "Hey, I saw Supergirl do this."
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Why couldn't
they use the Phantom Zone? I don't know why they can't use the Phantom Zone.
Right.
Shane, did you like Superman killing Zod in Man of Steel?
I didn't mind it, because at that point with that story, there was no other way around it.
And I'm not trying to pick on Shane. I just want to pick on this point. Is like, him just saying, and I want to really dig into Jamal and Raph a little bit and needle him a little bit, because I was like, I walked out of this movie and I was like, oh boy, I cannot wait to get on the episode and needle these guys, because it didn't make any sense to me to be the one guy on this particular podcast for 10 years or so to be like, I had no problem with Superman killing Zod, because Zod was literally like, I'm going to kill this family. I've got laser eyes. They're all going to burn. I'm not going to stop. You can't stop me. The only way to stop me is to kill me. The same thing that Krem said to Supergirl, even though he was like, this particular girl, I'm going to get her. But Zod was like, the whole freaking planet, I'm going to come after.
Yep.
And Superman snapped that guy's neck, and then Supergirl kills this guy. Like, I got no problem if you're going to do the same thing. But people like me got shit on for 10 years because Superman doesn't kill. I'm looking at Mark Waid too. And I'm just waiting for this review to be like, oh, we're going to make excuses for Supergirl and not hold her to the same standard that we held Superman to. Like, I get she's a badass.
Yeah,
she's a badass in this version of the movie, but like,
there's been other versions of Supergirl.
Throwing him away.
To me, a guy who didn't even fucking like this book to begin with, like, this book, Supergirl, isn't a badass.
All right.
She gets drunk at the beginning of the movie and then it's kind of the same for the rest of it.
She's
so
Supergirl.
I don't know.
But okay, so here's where I go with this, which is, yes, she should be held accountable for this shit, because again, it completely goes left. I want to point out, before I forget to mention this, because it's been up on my screen for a minute here, the screenwriter of this movie, Anna Noguera, this is not the first Supergirl script that she has written. She was tapped to write and be behind the Supergirl movie that was supposed to follow The Flash initially, before the Gunn reboot. So she wrote that version of Supergirl's movie that we will never see because
I've
that
never
universe
heard
no
of
longer,
that.
no longer exists.
Yeah.
There's a great
Sasha Callier?
there's a great cut short YouTube video all about Anna Nagara's original script for that. It only came out recently, but yeah, she was tapped for that. That's why James Gunn tapped her for this Supergirl movie, because he was so impressed with her script for that. And now, looking back on this and seeing just how incorrectly the source material was interpreted for the ending there, or that the decision was made that they had to do this because they weren't doing the future skip, it could have easily been Lobo. It could have easily been Lobo who stepped in and said, "Well, you know, I'm glad to see that you have morals, but I don't." And then, do the killing blow or something like that.
Nobody would have a problem with that.
No, actually, no. A lot of people, because that actually means she's not the hero of the movie anymore.
Yeah, then he is, and
he's the hero of the movie,
and she needs to be saved by him.
No. Well, let me ask this question, because the idea is that, like, if he breathes, he's unstoppable. He's not Zod. Why couldn't you just break his legs and then, like, toss him into another planet and then, like, forget about him? Like, this guy is not, like, doomsday. So the idea that, like, he has to die or otherwise it never stops, to me, it's like a false narrative.
Yeah, he was like an alien Batman, because he's a arrows.
He's a sex trafficker.
Yeah, that's what he is.
That's why he has to die.
Oh yeah,
they're making it something
in our
that
world,
relates to our world. Like,
I'm not defending it, but he didn't have to be. That seemed really arbitrary, because it was like, oh yeah, 2/3 in the movie, now we're going to make this guy a sex trafficker. And I was like, this doesn't jive, because he watched Ruthie stand in the middle of the hallway and saw a young nubile girl and was like, I'm going to pass on that one, even though his whole business is picking up these girls.
They mentioned time and again that he's stealing girls, and then we get the Mad Max Fury Road with the wives, basically.
And then here's one girl that has no family, and you're not going to steal her? Like, come on.
Because
I'm not saying that's a good thing, but there's the certain decisions that they have certain rules, and when they test stuff, usually when a person is this type of bad, they gotta die. But also, you can't have the hero of the movie not deal with the situation to have a man come up and handle that. That ain't gonna fly. You think you got bad ratings, critical reviews from this as it is, and this is just mid? People were just mad it was mid. They would eat this film alive if Jason Momoa comes in and does what it does.
That's a better point, that, like, you cannot have, like, the death blow swayed by somebody else. But when you say, well, they have introduced that he's a sex trafficker as opposed to comic, that just means that, like, they intended this movie for him to be killed one way or the other. Like, that was the agreement from the get-go. That's not like, I have an idea, let's do this, because, like,
well, they thought he died.
If you're going to give him that he needs to die morally, then you're starting with the idea that this character must die by the end.
They thought he died, though, Donovan. They thought he died. They really misread the comic. They thought he died.
No, I know. Yeah.
So you write the movie to lead up to him dying. You're going to make decisions.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, please.
To make it a more viable, fulfilling for a movie, like Shane said, for an audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
For a normal Hollywood movie, I just think it falls apart. And that's why it's, critics aren't really liking it, and it's only like 75 something on with an audience score, and the Metacritic is not good at all.
Murd's back is hurting. I want to hear from Murd.
I was gonna get there, actually, because I want to know what Murd thinks about Supergirl killing in this particular situation here, considering what was set up in the movie itself.
Well, oddly, in stark distinction to how I felt about Superman killing in The Man of Steel, I didn't have a problem with Kara taking someone's life here. I mean, it's they're clearly going for an edgier take on Supergirl, who is, more inclined to, constructive violence than of Clark or other previous versions of Kara Zor-El as seen in other media. Mm-hmm. And I got to give props to Millie Alcock for very deftly embodying this version of Supergirl that they're going for. And Julian's remarks about this character's deserving death and how the plot is kind of guiding us into that expectation. Like, I not only expected but hoped that either Ruthie or Supergirl would end this person's life by the end of it all. He's a murderer, he's a brigand, he's a abductor, rapist, sex trafficker, you name it. It just and worst of all, he's just a generic excuse for a character. All right, in most other movies, he would just be like a first act warm up generic mobster that the hero would take down just to ramp themselves up for the main antagonist. But in this movie, he is the main antagonist, and he doesn't really deserve it. And we were all bored with him, and that even more than any of the crimes he committed is why he needed to die. My problem is not so much in Supergirl killing him, however, as in the fact that she gives this long speech to Ruthie about how she shouldn't do such things, and she's going to mess herself up, and then she just, did you just go over there, dear, and put on your earmuffs, and then seconds later she's doing exactly the same thing, which makes her whole spiel to Ruthie seem, weirdly hypocritical and patronizing.
Yeah.
It's like, so that's how I feel about that. I do hold her to a different standard than Kal-El because she's a different character.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also she was in a very different movie. So
very
I'm actually all right with the way things went down. Well, the fact that she killed the guy, not with her, it's kind of a warped, teachable moment wasted between her interplay there with herself and Ruthie.
I also think that like the idea that like, well, clearly this will be addressed in the next movie. That smells like when they said at the end of Man of Steel, like clearly this is going to be addressed in the next movie, and like Snyder tripled down on it. And so I wouldn't necessarily like hold out hope that our yearning for character consistency will be given the same amount of care and interest from the director as we, the viewers, have. So it has to be isolated in this moment. And I think that there are some sound arguments for reaching that point. I just think the way that the script is, they don't earn it, in my opinion.
Most definitely the case. Yeah.
I think the vibes I got from this Supergirl reminded me of New 52 Supergirl. Because I think people forgot that little period of that more cynical, violent,
I didn't forget
harsh Supergirl that was at not always gelling with her cousin, which was one of the titles that when they was like, we're going to reboot things, missed the point of rebooting. I think they went the wrong direction with that Supergirl. Just like they went the wrong direction with that Superboy, which they killed one and made another clone, and that's a whole other thing. They didn't know what they were doing. I think there was elements of that Supergirl in this version. And again, it doesn't completely work for me, but the end of the movie has her at a different. She's on a personal journey. At the end of the thing, she's like, I'm going to actually connect to my cousin, and we'll try to do things his way.
Yeah,
and we're going to see how that works out next year in Man of Tomorrow, because she's going to be in Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we're going to see probably how this is going to affect things, because in that we're also going to get the Justice Buddies back, and we're going to get a Green Lantern in it. And then we're going to have Brainiac. And then how do you deal with Brainiac?
Yeah.
You can kill him.
You can kill him.
Yeah, no one cares.
Exactly. Yeah. He would actually be worth killing.
We're going to see there's going to be a dynamic between Superman and Lex, and the people around those two on probably how to deal with this external threat.
Yeah.
So I do think these things connect a little bit better, because they've clearly stated they're telling a story, and they're using everybody's separate stories to reach on this larger story, much like comic books do. Which the 20 years we've been talking, all the events and stuff. So we're going to see if they're successful or not. Sometimes when we read events and titles, certain titles don't work.
Yeah.
Certain books aren't good as the other books. Right now, Superman is good. Some of the other titles aren't as good as Superman.
You know what? I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it right here. You know what Supergirl is? It's the second movie out in a new franchise. It's the Incredible Hulk. It's the movie
which was also just mid.
That's just sort of mid, just sort of okay, but it didn't ruin the universe. Because there were other movies that came after that very much made the universe work.
I think that Hulk movie was
compared to
good
the first
until the
Superman
end,
movie.
but
yeah.
I gotta go now though.
That's perfectly fine, my friend. Thank you for sticking with us as long as you did. We love you. We're glad you were able to make it on and come back anytime you want, brother.
Murd, I'm glad I got to see you through a camera and talk to you. Shane, glad I got to see you and talk to you. Donovan, good to talk to you again. Chris, good to talk to you again. Good to see you. Brent, we ain't fight. This is good. Good to see you, talk to you again.
You're leaving too early. But we agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good to talk to you. Thanks for having me on. Congrats
Always.
for 20 years.
Thank you,
I'll
brother.
talk to you guys again.
All right. Take
Adios.
care. I want to focus on something else real quick before we wrap up here, and that is the director himself. The director himself, Craig Gillespie, known for somewhat character pieces more than anything else. You know, Lars and the Real Girl, Fright Night, you could say is a character piece to a point, but I love the remake of Fright Night. That movie was way better than it deserved to be. I, Tonya. He directed as well, and Cruella, which was a shockingly good movie, and I stick by it. And I don't think he was the right director for this spacefaring story, because everything I just described to you there, it's not his catalog.
I wonder if he got picked because, like, if you look at I, Tonya and you look at Cruella together, like, what do they have in common? A badass woman, right? Like somebody rebelling against the preconceived notions of who other people think they should be.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where they're like, this is our Supergirl, and we want somebody who can capture this tone and vibe. And thinking more about my critiques on my YouTube channel, I was like, this tone doesn't match. Like, to me, this was a 3-star out of 5 film. Like, I think it would be better if you just cut all the needle drops out and just use straight score. Because that was the tone shift for me. Every time the needle drop came in, it wasn't quite awesome or wasn't quite...
Yeah. It felt forced.
It felt really forced, yeah. And I'm thinking, like, you know what? I, Tonya and Cruella both used music, either of the time or whatever, in those films. So it's not really like, you know, I'll reverse my review here, but like... I called it like he was aping James Gunn. They do kind of have the same style in terms of using modern music, but like, there's nothing that's like, wow, this really fits the scene. Like, don't use it. Like, I was happy to hear Eagles of Death Metal, but even then I was like, I don't know if this song works, bro. When they were on the ship and I don't know if it was Cherry Cola or whatever, but you know, like, I was happy to hear him. But again, then you get to the middle thing and you're like, this does not match at all. But the whole movie, I was like, okay, they're going for a girl pop vibe. Okay, I get it. And then as it came on again and again and again and again, I was like, all right, can we stop with the, you know, this is a girl movie. Like, it's just, I was like, this is a good movie in here somewhere, but this just doesn't match. But maybe it is Craig. Maybe it wasn't trying to ape James Gunn. Maybe it was Craig Gillespie, and we just didn't know it. Like,
it's very possible.
Failed Craig Gillespie movie because he's made good films.
Oh no, he absolutely has, and he'll make good films after this. You know, like there've been tons of directors that have, you know, a blemish on their record, and that otherwise are stellar after that because they made one bad mark. I mean, a lot of people would say that for Chloe Zhao and The Eternals. You know, I stand by that movie. I actually really enjoy it a lot more than a lot of people did, but there are people that would consider that to be her mistake, you know, because it just didn't hit with people. And this itself, let's see how it does in the next couple of weeks, if it recoups any more of its money, and whether or not Warner Brothers, soon to be Paramount, freaks the hell out, or whether they just continue to go with their slate. Because Clayface is next. Clayface, I guarantee you, is going to make way more money than people were expecting it to, because it's like what Julian was talking about. It's a horror movie. They're releasing it in a time where it's not crowded with a bunch of other movies. I think it's going to be really fascinating to see where that one lands. So,
would you also agree that, like, it felt as though the promotion for this movie really slowed down in comparison to Superman? I mean, Superman, that was a full court press promo out the gate. Whereas this one, it felt like they kind of gave up on it like 6 months ago. Am I the only one who thinks that way, or did it feel that like it was properly promoted? People just didn't show up for it.
Yeah,
I think they were more cutesy because they had a bigger cast to play with that played off each other with Superman and James Gunn. Like, you saw them interacting with each other, and you didn't see as much of the cutesy social stuff that they had for Superman last year than for Supergirl.
Yeah. I didn't mind everything that came out for Supergirl. I watched all the trailers and read and saw a lot of interviews, and I thought it was fine. but that's kind of what you got in the movie. Then it was fine.
Right. I thought from the initial trailer, I was hyped, and then the second trailer came out. I'm like, we'll see. Like once we started getting more Lobo, and I started thinking to myself, oh God, they're shoehorning him into this, which unfortunately was true.
Yeah.
Then I felt a little bit more sour towards it, but yeah.
And I reread the book like the week before seeing the movie, and I'm like, okay. Seeing the movie, then you're like, well, the book was really good.
Oh yeah,
and it followed like somebody said, it followed a lot of the beats, but a lot of the heart just wasn't there in the same way.
Yes, most definitely the case. Yeah, Kris, what'd you think about the marketing
for Supergirl? I mean, I don't think I cared much either way about it. Like, I was like, oh, it'll probably be good, but it's far from one of my most anticipated movies of 2026. I did get excited when I saw in one of the trailers they showed you the Kryptonians walking in the single lines, because I was like, oh my God, they're actually going to adapt that stuff from the comic.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't think they did a good job of selling it, because from watching any of the trailers, I don't feel like I really knew what type of movie it was going to be. So that's why I said a lot of people are like, oh, I like Superman. And I'm just like, it's not going to be like that. Like, it was just a complete mismatch. I think I agree that maybe it feels like they kind of gave up after a while.
Yeah.
Like it just, I mean, I saw it because I still was interested in it. But like, as I said, there was an uphill battle for this movie. And maybe they realized that at some point. But that's not... No, because I didn't want to bring the dreaded like sexism ghost into this, but
yeah,
the fact is that it just feels like like they didn't try. They kind of knew people were already going to be turned off going in, no matter what.
Yeah,
and again, since it has this challenging source material, like I knew people were going to walk out kind of unhappy. And it's just I don't really know how I feel about the marketing here.
I will say that of the female-driven superhero movies that have bombed in recent memory, box office-wise, The Marvels is a better film. Like I
like The Marvels.
The Marvels is pretty good.
It's good. It's,
I got such a bad rap. I thought the action was great. The three characters interacted fine. Yeah, the villain's not great, but like that's hardly singular to the Marvels. And I think that one also kind of came out in a bad climate, because I think by that time people were deciding actually the MCU sucks, but like, oh, females, we're not gonna like this. But that was a really solid movie. Not awesome, but solid in the truest sense of the word. With I can't really think of as many problems with that movie as I do with this, to be honest.
Yeah, and maybe after rewatching this a couple times, I'll have changed my tune a little bit. It's just I was expecting so much from it at first. And really, the Argo stuff is what works the best for me in this, because it's lore building. It makes sense overall. I think it very much has an emotional core to it and depth.
I think if they had gone deeper into the Argo stuff and honestly dug more into the horrifying bits of it, like I always think about the putting the plates down and trying to imagine this like 16-year-old girl doing all this manual labor so that her people don't die. And I think for starters, like anybody who ever had a problem with things like the ending would be like, no, somebody who had to do that kind of shit, like dragging bodies out, like it would work a lot better. And I think it might have had a better reception, honestly, because this feels like a movie that didn't want to commit to anything.
Yeah, like I heard.
Go ahead.
I heard John Campea say like, "Who hurt her?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I hear that point, because they didn't show her being hurt in terms of like being on Argo, living through all this death. They kind of showed it, they hinted at it, but they didn't execute it. And then she shows up on Earth and has this, and carries it into this film. We'll call it a bad attitude, but it's her being hurt and damaged, right? But they didn't really show that in the film, so you're like, why? Why are you the way you are? I don't know.
But Superman, sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Well, like you had the teaser, which shows him being beat up, which is just an arresting image, and that teaser really sold the score. And then with the trailer, it was Lois and Clark having a political argument, and so right away it's like this is objectively fresh. Like we've not seen this before in this way. With Supergirl, it kind of, it had that line, Superman sees the good people, I see the truth, which wasn't necessarily evident in the film. But like it's kind of they started and stopped with that. Like this isn't, you're happy-go-lucky Supergirl, which again, I'm not whining, like they're ruining girls, whatever. That's fine after 6 seasons of CBS/CW Supergirl.
Yeah.
But I didn't see much dimension beyond that. It's like it's space. Jason Momoa goes, "Ooh, we never see that," and it's Supergirl wearing a jacket, and it's like I kind of sniff out, either they're holding up a lot close to the chest, or there's not much to offer besides the idea that this is a rougher Supergirl. And then what?
Yeah. Let me go ahead, Jay.
When you talk about her origin and what they showed in Argo City was great. Just me personally, the only thing I would have added to that is I like the idea of Supergirl who is older and tasked to take care of Clark, sees Krypton blow up, knows everything, and when she gets to Earth is despondent because Clark's now older. So not only did she lose her world that she saw, she lost her family that she saw. She then lost her purpose in taking care of Clark because he's already an adult.
Right. Yeah, that was a weird change.
Yeah.
Well, that's when the Silver Age, I think, what they went with. But I think what you're saying would have informed her attitude a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah. The business with her being older than Kal-El, that was introduced in the mid 2000s.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I just
Traditionally,
like
she has
that
been
idea.
younger, not just because she was in suspended animation for a long time, but she was born after Kal-El was, after Krypton exploded. They reinserted that in this movie, and I'm glad that they did, frankly.
Yeah. And
I'm more used to that, yeah.
I want to end on this note here, and it's a general statement, and I'd love to get what you guys think about on this because I've been racking my brain on it. So Flash comes out shortly after or right before Flash TV is going to end. And we had seasons and seasons and seasons of Flash on TV. And this was the Flash that we got used to. This was the Grant Gustin Flash. And yes, the Flash had shown up in Justice League material before that and Batman v Superman, but you're giving us a full-fledged Flash movie based on this other Flash after 6 seasons of material for the previous Flash had literally just wrapped up. And now we get the same thing here with Supergirl in a similar fashion, where we had Melissa Benoist's Supergirl for all that time, and now we're going straight to another Supergirl. With Superman, I can understand it a little bit differently because a character like Superman has always been in the zeitgeist. Like, there's always been all these different versions of Superman out there, whether it be animated, whether it be screen, whether it be, TV. Plus, we had screen Superman so many times before we went to this new Superman. Yes, technically there was a Supergirl movie in the 80s, but nobody gave a shit. So
I gave a shit.
Sucks.
Fine. But I watched it once and I did not enjoy it.
It's weird. Yeah,
but just going to that,
it is better than that.
Did they do this too soon after the CW verse concluded for people to immediately be like, I need more of this character, even if it's this new version of the character?
So I want to chime in on that. So something, with the video game industry, there's been a lot of layoffs for the past few years. Like studios are shutting down left and right. And I've seen a few people comment on this, is that how you can have a successful game and still get laid off.
Yeah.
And I like part of the comments I saw was just the fact that the companies that own these studios don't seem to understand. They're like, oh, we had a successful, like say Assassin's Creed game. Let's make more Assassin's Creed games. They think the IP is the product and not the people behind the product. Like they throw away the team thinking that the IP is going to sell itself.
Yeah.
And I think that's the issue that's happening with like the Flash and Supergirl is they think the Flash and the Supergirl are IPs on their own. They can do whatever. People just care about the IPs.
Yes.
But the reason we cared about Grant Gustin's Flash and Melissa Benoist's Supergirl was specifically, it was the actors, the writing, the absolute insane goofiness of both of them. I don't think, the number crunchers, don't understand that like, no, it is about the underlying humanity of it.
Yeah. And there's two things about this. Is one, I never liked the Ezra Miller Flash. I don't like the way they wrote him. I don't like the way he acted it. It just did not work for me. There were parts of the Flash movie that were better than what he did in Justice League and other stuff, but that was after he saw his alternate version of himself be such a jerk and say, "Oh God, is this really what I was like?" And then the regular Ezra Miller Flash kind of calmed down. So
I think him meeting Grant Gustin in the Crisis episodes made him better.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm gonna believe.
Yeah. And as far as the Supergirl movie, we've had a few years without the Supergirl TV show, so that didn't weigh into me. Whereas the Flash movie was really much closer to the Flash TV show.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Also, yeah, I would agree exactly with that. And like I said before, like, they seeded Supergirl in the Superman thing, but I think the problem with both Flash and Supergirl in that way is that, like, you titled that movie The Flash, which implies through the title that this is the all-embodying Flash story, but it's very specifically Flashpoint.
Yeah.
This one is like Supergirl. I know they were initially going to call it Woman Tomorrow, and they settled on Supergirl, which this feels like one of the weirdest, or even called an origin movie. Like, it feels very odd. It's clearly missing a beat where the transition from Earth to where she ends up at the start of this film, and so I think. Again, I think goes back to the scripting that, like, it's not a good step foot forward to build up a franchise by reintroducing somebody. And I actually think that, like, the television shows have little to do with it, even though technically they were a longer stretch of an introduction of the characters compared to these films.
Mm-hmm. And to piggyback off what you just said there, Donovan, the reason why they dropped the Woman of Tomorrow from this is because the next Superman movie is literally Superman Man of Tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
yeah. For now,
yeah. So
Superman to save crypto again.
Yeah, so clearly they decided they wanted to use that for that, and doing Woman of Tomorrow here would have been an also ran, so they just didn't bother with it. So yeah,
I think the idea of there's been too many Supergirls within too short a period of time or whatever is like a misnomer. Like, for me, that's people older than everybody on this call, like boomers or something like that. Like, my parents are 70. Like, maybe back in the day, people were getting confused because there was a Superman on TV and then there was a Superman in the movies. But like, everybody today consuming media on this call and our age and our generation and younger have been consuming the Marvel universe and the Marvel TV shows and all the different things that have been going on for the past, 20 years since we've been recording and understood that there's different versions of these different characters. And so the idea that you can have a competing TV and movie and they clash with each other, I think is kind of a misnomer. Maybe their timing thing is something to be discussed.
Yeah, that's it.
But the idea that, like,
what I was going with. Yeah,
you can't have a Batman TV show and a Batman movie at the same time. It's just bonkers.
No, that's
remember from 1992 to 2005, there was a different Batman actor every single time.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
With some exceptions of Christopher Reeve Superman, Michael Keaton Batman, even Batman Begins, I still think overall, no matter who's in charge of it, the DC movies are lacking something that I'm looking for overall. The animated movies, the animated shows do great for DC and Warner Brothers, but the movies still miss something in some way along every iteration.
I still think the best version of Superman out there right now, I'll say it's My Adventures. Like, My Adventures with Superman is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's its own thing. Yep. It's more anime inspired, like closer to like an Avatar: The Last Airbender style of a personality to it.
It feels original.
But it's original in the right way, and it still feels like Superman, and they have their own Supergirl there too.
Yeah. so which
you can tell that,
I'm in the
like,
middle of
it's not
season
like
2 for that.
Yeah,
it's not like we'll take the Superman IP and then do it our way. They're very clearly Superman fans. They're just having fun with it, and I God bless them for that. I mean, I think the originality and the energy of that show is what I enjoy more than anything else. I still need to see episode 3 of this season. But
they're basically season 3. Not to spoil anything for you, Shane, but they're doing a take on Reign, basically. Reign, like they're introducing a whole bunch of the characters from Reign of Superman as time goes on. So we're definitely getting somewhere with that in one way or the other.
I got 2 things.
Yeah.
Millie Alcock She's not just from House of the Dragon. Nobody probably watched this Netflix show called Sirens with her and Julianne Moore and Megan Fahey.
Ooh, okay.
Interesting. Okay.
It's a great show. I love these David E. Kelly housewife things. My wife and I watch them together. They're fun. That one was particularly good. Amelia Alcock has a actual arc from beginning to end of that 8 episodes or whatever it is series. Liev Schreiber's in it. If everybody's a Liev Schreiber fan,
I'll check it out.
Let's listen to the HBO voice. But she has a real arc there, so she shows her more range of like what she can do in that series. So that makes me excited for future Supergirls, as opposed to like the half season of House of the Dragon where she's kind of one note, growing up teenager and things like that. Second thing, what really bugged me about Lobo is the fact that he had that stupid plastic cigar. As a real cigar smoker, I'm like, you could have lined up 4 different cigars at the same length and cut them for every take.
I thought you were going to say
it wouldn't have bothered me, rather than this really weird, glowy, ugly, in a close-up fake cigar. That sucked.
At least he said Bastich, at least we got that.
I like that. I like that.
And the fake abs.
Beatles Giz, though.
Agreed. Yeah. Yep. But
there's a point he pointed out that it's like not the abs, like the muscle suit you borrowed from Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've just added Sirens to my list of shows to watch because that sounds up my alley. So I will give that a shot there. Yeah, for sure. All right. I think that's about it. Any other thoughts we wanted to touch on that we may have missed before we wrap it up?
Are we graded or not?
Yeah, might as well. Yeah, we might as well throw a grade out there. Dono, what do you give it out of 5?
Out of 5, 3.
Okay. Brent?
A 3.
Kris?
Yeah, I gave it a 3. I gave it a 3.5 on Letterboxd, but that's a bigger, scale.
Murd?
I'm thinking 3.5.
Okay. Shane?
I'd be 3.5 too.
You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and Jamie at 3.25. 3.25. That it's just above, middle of the road for me, and I think it's very possible. Like I said, on future watchings, I may actually enjoy it more, not less.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch it when it comes on streaming. Yeah.
Well, no, Shane, you're not just gonna watch it; you're also gonna listen to it.
Oh yeah. I listened to Superman twice last week, getting ready to go see Supergirl.
Exactly. Yeah. Come on, we know your bag by now. We know how it works.
Yeah.
I hope this doesn't sour Superman Man of Tomorrow's rollout.
I don't think so. I don't think it will at all, to be honest with you. I think that anybody who didn't want to see Supergirl didn't see Supergirl, like plain and simple. Like that's unfortunate, but it's true.
Yeah, I think I will agree that I think with streaming and then a few years on it, people will probably be kinder to it. I don't think it's going to make it a better movie, but I mean, that seems to be the trend now, is everybody's got their hot takes. They got to jump on something and declare it either the best ever or the worst ever. And then a few years later, they're going to talk about how it's actually good. And this is what they were saying all along. As a Star Trek fan, this happens literally every single goddamn thing.
100%. Yeah. And I didn't get a chance to see Mandalorian and Grogu in theaters, and I thought to myself, like, oh, it's going to be on streaming before
That's another one where people were like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen. And it's fine. I enjoyed it.
It's fine.
I liked it a lot.
Just like a big episode.
Yeah, I liked it better than Supergirl, but I think they're both very fun times at the movies. So.
Oh, and for that matter, great uncredited appearance by Seth Rogen. I wanted to see more of that tiny ass character.
Yeah, he was not credited because I looked at his voice. I was like, that sounds like Alan the Alien, but I didn't see his giving the credits.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, he was completely uncredited in that appearance, and that entire bus scene outside of Argo. We already said it, but I'll say it again. Easily the best scene sequence in the entire movie. That was terrific.
I actually really enjoyed the creature design in this. I thought it was actually very comic booky and unique and fun and different, but I couldn't shake from the Guardians comparisons. So I mean, I wanted to appreciate it on its own artistic merit, but I was like, I wish this wasn't so familiar. But at the same time, those designers and actors did a really great job.
Yeah, I think we are stuck in a certain aesthetic because, like, the aesthetic predates Guardians of the Galaxy, but since that was the most recent, like, big success, it's the aesthetic we've been stuck with for a lot of space films.
Yeah,
and and I would like to move on at some point. It's supposed to be a cycle. We're supposed to get like the shiny Star Trek future and then the gross ass, alien, future, the Wayland Yutani, everything is falling apart. And this is like the middle ground between the two. Like it's just, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm just trailing off at this point.
No.
Just watch Doctor Who directors. Follow that guideline.
Well, look, we're gonna have a lot more time and a lot more episodes to talk about shit like that moving forward. Here's the 20 years, guys. Like this was a great episode. I'm glad we were able to have the celebratory and the reflective in with a full review. I think that's going to give people plenty of stuff to listen to, and for that matter, thank you guys as well for being there with us for as much amount of time as you have been here. I'm glad to have you, and I look forward to continue conversations with you down the road.
Well,
thank you, Ian.
Thank you, and congratulations on 20 years.
Thank you.
100%.
Happy to be here.
And to the listeners, you can go home now. It's okay.
Matthew Guy, we missed you.
Yes, Matthew Guy, if you're listening to this episode, please post on the fan group. We haven't heard your name in a long time, but I still see you post occasionally on Facebook. So hopefully you're still listening to podcasts in one way or another. Let me give those of us who have places that they would like to promote time to do so. So Donovan, over to you. Where can they find you?
Questions we don't have answers is the podcast I roll with Mr. Harrison Chu at qnoanswers.com. If you're a fan of this show, check out the episode that I recently did with Ian and Kris and Brandon and Jamal talking about why are comic books as popular in America as they are in other countries. That's my current favorite episode we've done this year on QNOA. Again, qnoanswers.com. I also am a freelance content contributor on dccomics.com or dc.com. I definitely got some stuff coming out, especially for Supergirl. I'll be writing about the Bizarre Girl storyline, which Jamal penciled.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to doing that.
Very
nice.
And you can follow me on Blue Sky and Instagram and stuff like that.
Awesome. And I absolutely 100% promise, Donald, because just a programming note, we're going to be on at least a 2-week hiatus outside of possibly the episode that Brent and I wind up recording in person. So the July 4th week, we're going to release the QNOA episode on the Comic Timing feed officially.
Oh, yeah.
At this point. For that matter, Donald, please send me the video if you get the opportunity to do so, and we'll post that to YouTube as well. So any of you who didn't have the opportunity to listen to QNOA on the feed, it'll be on the Comic Timing feed July 4th week. So do stay tuned for that. Brent, where can they find you?
I'm here as always on Comic Timing and on YouTube as BK's Bullets, where I review stuff. So check me out there. Hot takes galore.
Hot takes, baby, hot takes. And not on Blue Sky because you can't figure it out. And Kris, where can they find you?
I mean, look, yeah, I'm a Blue Sky. I occasionally skeet about things. I have a Patreon, which was kind of dormant for a while. I was going to write about game development, and now I'm just turning it into a media blog since I'm on this ongoing project of trying to finish every show I haven't finished. I started at 150 shows, and I'm down to 30. So we're in what feels like the home stretch. I think my next post will probably be about finishing Spartacus, which I finished a few days ago. So you can just find me. That's Lampbane everywhere. So Lampbane on Patreon and all that.
Excellent. Cool. And you can find any of my stuff over at I Am Sci-Fi on Blue Sky and Instagram and various other places. And of course, Shane can also be heard over at Comic Geek Speak. So if you want to check him out over there for a bunch of different episodes, I saw you guys were tackling the Supergirl Marl stuff.
Yep. And then I show up on guests as other shows talking about G.I. Joe and Mask and just guesting on whatever reviews we do whenever somebody invites me. So
excellent. Yeah. We're happy to have you, buddy. So absolutely. And Murd, when I get back from vacation, we will be discussing crisis-y things. So I will try to get that on the docket officially. So teasing. We'll
look forward to hearing that.
Try to make that happen. Absolutely. All right. Email address for Comic Timing is comictiming@gmail.com. Facebook.com/Comic Timing is where you can find the Comic Timing fan group. So please do check us out over there. The U.S. won 2-0, so that is over and done with. So we are moving on, baby, moving on. Check us out at Blue Sky at Comic Timing, or Instagram, Comic Timing Podcast, Threads at Comic Timing Podcast, and also full video episodes can be found over at youtube.com/@Comic Timing Podcast. So for Brent, for Dono, for Kris, for Murd, for Shane, for Chris Eberle, for Julian Lytle, for Bob Bretall, for Rick Gordon, for John Boy, I'm Ian Livestein, reminding everybody out there that there's always time for comics. And many more.
Now that was an old school Comic Timing episode over 3 hours. Congratulations, everyone!
Hell,
Congratulations!
Hell, fucking yeah! Yep.
I'm sweating so much.
I know,
Yeah.
Me too.